Hello, internet friends, and welcome to episode number 155 of FinalBossTV, the post-BlizzCon2017 special. And no, if you missed the awkward pre-show setup, it will not be on YouTube. So if you're here live, that is a special little nugget for you, because why are these shows cursed? Hello everybody, my name is Adam K.K. Bale. I'll be your host for this evening. Of course, I would not be sitting in this chair right now if it wasn't for the amazing support, because I don't know what YouTube is doing right now, but they hate content creators. So thank you everyone to supporting the show on Patreon recently and for the long run, especially to Troffles, Ludovicus, Tazel, and R4, Dalthier, Screws Loose, and Mia, the assistant producers of the show. There are lots of things on Patreon. If you want more of this show you're about to listen to, there's over an hour of it over on Patreon. It's the BTS podcasts. Additionally, there was one for the pre-BlizzCon special, which was also ridiculous. An hour and 40 minutes of Bellular, myself, Taliesin, and Evitel. It was madness. You can go check those out. Links are, of course, down below. You can follow along in the show notes of the show as well. So you go check those out. So I would not be sitting here if it wasn't for the generous patrons that are supporting the show. But that's enough out of me. We've been waiting too long. We have way too much to talk about. I don't really know if I need to introduce my two guests today, so I'm just gonna go over here and introduce Pixelated Preach. Hi, Mike.
What up? I'm not doing the holler. I refuse.
You're not?
For
all time's sake, come on.
You know what? No. I had to do that at a podcast years ago, and they said it was for old time's sake, and it never went away. So I'm staying true. I'm gonna drink my beer because I'm British, and I'm ready to talk about WoW. Oh, that is Pixelated. Holy cow, look at that.
I don't know why.
Wow.
I don't know why. Because here, we'll go over to Nobbel. Look, there's Nibbler.
Look at this.
There he
I'm
is.
so glad I invested like so much money into equipment.
See,
now it's paying off.
Nobbel's isn't as bad because he has less colors in his region, because he just likes black clothes and he's a, yeah. Oh, now it's, don't do that. No. Oh, don't move. Just stand there and look stoic and beautiful. Oh, that's the best.
Look at that jawline.
No, look at it.
I could cut myself to that jawline. Look at that.
Absolutely.
Have you seen my edgy hair?
Wait, what are you?
It might not come through in the pixels.
What are you doing?
I was gonna ask what hair, but then the wig came out, and then I was like, oh.
What are you doing?
You like it?
Oh my god.
This is when we really need to get edgy on it, yeah?
What in the hell? We're live in 3 minutes into my show. What is this? I don't even have like a prop. Oh.
That's for my edgelord moments in stream.
The whole reason why this show is like this is because I'm wearing Taliesin and Evitel's shirt, which you can buy on their Spreadshirt. This is why we're having this problem today.
I love that wig.
Oh my gosh. Do you really? I mean, does it? Ew.
Oh, it's perfect. In certain games, it is the best thing you can have on hand to really, especially when you bump into warriors named, the Scythe of Shadows. Or some DKs like Crypt Defiler.
Yeah.
Edge was so strong that your camera fell away.
No, seriously, you got so edgy you turned into a black void there for like 3 seconds. It was amazing.
That was just showing you my soul.
Yeah, seriously, what the
That was just my soul. That's what it was.
See, now if we need anything on this show today, I can always just do this. So hang on, Nobbel, don't move. Just hold right there. Because then if you don't, I can put a high-res face on you. There we go, perfect. I can put one on Mike. Two, I gotta flip it. Hold on, let me lay out and go like this. So I can do the show like this.
I just want to be clear, it's neither me or Nobbel's fault. Our stuff is fine.
It's not even mine.
Yeah, it's nobody's fault. It's just Discord's camera
Discord,
stuff.
I love you, but please fix your video codec for the love of Glob. Oh.
Your chin is so glorious in that picture, man. It's so good.
Isn't it? Look at how I'm just so chiseled.
Ladies.
Oh, it just looks like a mirror, honestly.
There we go. These are the key art pieces that Tutron made sort of as a gift to all my guests. You guys saw the ones from last week as well, from the T&E show. But yeah, we can do the show like this, just talk behind these masks. Just don't move behind your face, then you're really high res because these are like super high res.
I don't think that's going to pay off if I'm being honest.
No, I'm just kidding. I will leave them there though, and then yeah, there we go. Too much hair, far too much hair. Wow, Mike, your fans are really nice to you.
They are the most sarcastic bunch of people. I've bred them that way, though. I feel some sense of pride.
Wait, you've bred them?
Definitely cultivated this audience. Everybody in my chat is better than me at every game ever played. And also has more hair, a hot wife, better children, the whole shabazz. They have everything. Every single last one of them.
I mean, I guess you can be proud of them then. They're all sort of like your offsprings or your proteges in that regard, yeah?
I believe so. I believe I've brought this on myself, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
God forbid I miss a shot if we're playing an FPS game. Ho ho!
Oh.
Ho ho ho! You're talking to some Wild West cowboys out here. These guys are on top form.
Yeah, they're never 100% KDA. They'll always land every hook
never
on
died.
Roadhog. Never died.
Everybody in my audience should change their name to Never Died. Never wiped. Would probably be better.
Oh, never wiped. Yeah.
Never wiped.
That sounds like
but that's just the persona you set up, though. Like, once you break it down and you just suck at everything, they have zero expectations. And then when you do something good, they'll be like, yay, good job! This is how it works.
I just put it down to RNG.
Oh, yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. In games without RNG, it's RNG.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. No, absolutely. I don't know. But I guess we'll talk about real quick here is the post-BlizzCon show. The first half will be just BlizzCon and then a contentious topic. And then the second half of the show will, of course, be Battle for Azeroth for like an hour and 98 minutes or something like that. We'll see. But so I guess just BlizzCon, memory lane, some story time. I'll throw it over to Preach first because he's good at telling stories. So the thing we found out last night in the BTS podcast, which was interesting, which check and confirm, and the two of you obviously will corroborate. You two have never been at the same BlizzCon, and you always like flip-flop. Like Nobbel went to one, and then you went to one, and then so why?
The stupid thing is, we put a lot of effort into actually being there at the same time, as Nobbel will confirm. Like we had it all organized with Blizzard at one year, but Nobbel couldn't make it. Like we were all good for a while, and then he couldn't go, and then me and Andy went, and the next we went to one, then Nobbel went to the next one. I can't remember why we didn't go to that one. And then Nobbel didn't go last year. We went last year. We meet in the UK every year. Like it's not like we don't get our cuddles. I don't want people to think that. Me and Nobbel get our cuddles, and it's all working out fine. But in terms of being at BlizzCon together, it's never lined up. Never lined up perfectly for either.
We just do our own convention with PreachCon. Like,
yeah,
he needs to go to America.
It's better than BlizzCon. We had, I can't even say, but we had we have a live stage performance from WoW content creators. It's all good, man. Nobbel played Octodad in a challenge. Yeah. Octodad in a challenge with his fellow Dutchies, and passed. Actually, you passed that challenge, which was really good.
Although I was told I didn't even make it to the end. You were like, "Oh, it's fine like this. It's fine."
Yeah, you were 2 seconds off. Like, who's? What is this? Really?
2 seconds though. Come on now.
I know. I should stick to the rules.
Oh, PreachCon was great though. Next year again, right? This year? Yeah, next year.
We don't know if we're doing one this year. We know what we're doing if we do it. How does that sound? We know what we're doing if we do it.
2018 PreachCon, you mean, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So we know if it happens, we know exactly what we're doing.
Sure.
It's totally ridiculous. It's not going to be like the last one. It's going to be in a different place. It's going to be, but we haven't confirmed that it's happening yet.
Okay.
So that's the situation we're in. But we know exactly what we're doing should it go ahead.
Disneyland.
Yay! No, it's not Disneyland, but it's good. It's good. Trust me.
I remember watching. Was it 2 PreachCons ago? You had like the wrestling, like the wrestling rink or the boxing rink, wrestling rink, whatever it was. The pandas.
Yeah, we had Panda Monks versus me and Andy in a wrestling ring. That was really good actually. Nobbel wasn't there for that. I think he was still in bed from the night before. So I think Nobbel missed that.
Look, I nearly missed the first dinner because I fell asleep. Okay.
Yeah, a lot because the part I got to the event. Obviously, people turned up the day before, and we all went out for dinner. Actually, me, Nobbel, and a few and Fat Boss, and Kelric, we all, and a few of the mods who do all like the volunteer stuff there. We all had a big dinner, but then apparently when I went to bed, because we had PreachCon the next day, these guys all just went and carried on partying because all the guests and fans were stood outside the hotel throwing a huge party till 6 o'clock in the morning. So when it came to filming the stuff, the wrestling thing, loads of people were just in bed, drunk. So that's how that went down. So many people missed that, but luckily it was just the beginning part of the day. Everybody made it to the nighttime party.
Yeah, and this year around, we didn't have the pandas fighting. This year around, we had the. You also record for
we
the video.
Killed everybody. We had a massacre.
Yeah,
we had a massacre this year, which went out really well. Actually, people got. It's very strange when you're saying to. We had 250 people at this year's because we like to keep it pretty small. That we're going to massacre them with weapons, and everybody was in. They were like, "Yes, please whack me with the axe." Hit me with the hammer. We just had people. The only issue was we had a very heavily pregnant lady there, but she still wanted to be in the video. So we were like, right, I'll just kind of gesture in your direction, and you just take a seat and stuff like that. But we did it. It was a hell of a thing to film with everybody. Is getting every single person to lie on the floor and play dead was really fun. The video looks fantastic.
Brilliant.
Like Andy's done all the editing to it, so it looks awesome.
There's obviously some no kink shaming, obviously, you know, whatever. I'm sure there's some weird fantasies being played out by that kind of stuff that I'm sure there's not fan fiction of.
There is some weird fan fiction with me and Andy. Yeah,
Gosh.
Really?
Yeah, there is.
Really?
But it's all topped off by the 4 o'clock in the morning McDonald's run, right, Nobbel?
No.
We don't speak about that.
We don't speak about everybody turning up at McDonald's at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that one guy working there. He did not know
the
what
poor
happened.
guy working there. Somebody printed out my face and put it on a t-shirt, and my order wasn't coming, so I pulled rank and I was like, I want a t-shirt. Look at this. I want my chicken nuggets. Like, the guy was just like, oh, sweet Jesus. But it was he actually got involved. He had so much fun with it. It was it's a hell of a couple of days. It's very exhausting for everybody.
Yeah,
I know me and Andy basically just passed out for 2 days afterwards.
I hope you get to do 2018 because I know, like, I almost got to go to 2017, so I'd love to go to 2018.
You've always been invited, never come.
Yeah, well, you know.
Who's the letdown now?
Yeah.
Talking about your BlizzCon, which is on your doorstep.
Yeah, I know.
It's only a 10-hour flight. Come on, babe. It's only 10 hours.
I mean, after going to Gamescom this past year, that you know, popped my proverbial fly across the world cherry, I guess you could say. I can see about flying across the pond again. So
you did go to Gamescom, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
How much did it smell? Did you like it?
I mean, it smelled like cigarettes because everyone in Germany smokes. Apparently, that was a bit of a thing. But
I don't know how hot it was when you went, but when we went to Gamescom, it was extremely hot, and that place.
Oh no, it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. Cologne was amazing. Yeah,
it's a beautiful place. Did you climb the tower?
Oh yeah, we did. I almost died.
Yeah. Oh, did you really?
I almost died. Yeah. Oh, that was way more stairs than I was expecting.
It's a long way up there. It's a long way up there.
Yeah, it's rough. But it's okay. So planning for this is sort of we talked about this on the show last week too with Bellular, and we were making fun of how he's never gone ever to a BlizzCon.
He's been invited to PreachCon. He's been invited to everything.
Yeah. But
he's got to make videos though. Like
he's got to make those videos. That's the issue.
That's true.
Not leaving that PC.
Otherwise, he goes on a killing spree, and you do not want it at your con. That's just messy.
That's true. That is how it works. But yeah, so next year though, the 2018 BlizzCon shouldn't be like a Warcraft announcement year. So that would be a really good BlizzCon just to go and just like be at. Because
we have we just party every time we're there. So
right.
The non-WoW ones are actually better for us.
Yeah. And that's actually the reason why I didn't go this year, because we had the whole announcement thing pretty guaranteed. Get on that hype train. And Preach was playing the same, and then your internet died.
We don't talk about it, okay?
Yeah, we do. We rub it in.
We don't. No, we don't.
I saw that tweet. I was moving from the it was right, I think, when I was going to be streaming from the convention. And I was refreshing my Twitter before I was getting all in there waiting for my time slot to open up. And I think I saw that tweet and I was just like, oh, come on. Of all the people in our little circle to suddenly just have no internet for like the next 5 hours.
Yeah.
What did you?
What was worse is my I was watching BlizzCon on my phone at that point.
Oh.
And my data ran out halfway through.
No, come on.
So
You could have called me. I would have. I don't know. Screen sharing doesn't work. We don't have internet. No, never mind.
no, we had no access to the internet world, and
You could have called me, and I could have given you a play-by-play. Oh, I would have told you everything.
That would have been great. That sounds awesome, actually.
What voice would you have narrated that to Preach in, though, Nobbel? Would you have given it like your sultry lore voice, or just like your normal one?
Hi, Preach. Would you like to know about BlizzCon?
You tell me about the story or something, man. I don't care. I just put the phone down.
Yeah,
the story
probably.
looks really good this time round. Oh, great.
Well, that's okay. Then Emma can pick it up, and I'll just go like, "It will be great." I'll tell her everything.
You talk to my wife more than I do. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. So I get like BlizzCon this year as a whole was rather ridiculous. I'm gonna just like scroll through the wrap-up post that's sitting here in MMO-Champion. So we have a new map and a new hero for Overwatch and everything else coming with it. Then we had the Reinhardt cinematic, which was way good. We have the Kobolds and Catacombs and the Dungeon Run, which is the PvE Hearthstone, which I might actually dabble at. It looks pretty good. That's kind of WoW, but flat and card-based.
Andy was super hyped for that.
That announcement was the best thing ever.
Oh, it was really good.
How Ben Brode explained it was so good.
He's so enthusiastic. I love Ben Brode.
Yes.
He loves
like
what
this.
he's doing.
He's embodied the spirit of Metza, man. I love him.
He absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
He always comes with a really good energy when he's talking about Hearthstone.
He obviously has a huge passion for the game. Yeah. But
Yeah,
it was like
does.
it was like a D&D campaign essentially right there, but it was Hearthstone themed. Yeah, it was awesome. We had the Heroes of the Storm. We had like the Dragons of the Nexus cinematic, which was also incredible. We have Alex Strauza coming. Yep.
So good.
And then we have Hanzo mains everywhere now that are going to be in the Nexus, even though they're all over Overwatch already. So, crap baskets. Even though he looks pretty good in Heroes. He probably is going to be better in Heroes than he is in Overwatch, to be honest. That sounds terrible.
Is it bad that I don't own Overwatch?
Yeah, I haven't played Heroes of the Storm in ages, so I can't really tell. I know Junkrat is in the game as well, and really cool, but...
Junkrat is
I have a code for Overwatch. I have yet to, like, punch it in.
You've never played Overwatch ever?
Yo, I did the beta, yeah. But when it came to live, like, I just didn't have the time to invest in it, so I never got round to saying, okay, I've got a few hours to play Overwatch now. It just never happened, so there you go.
I was obsessed with the game for a while. It was so good.
So out of all the announcements, I suppose, then, again, we'll talk about Battle for Azeroth specifically in the second half, because there's plenty to go over there. But, like, Nobbel, what did you think as you were watching the opening ceremony? There's no recap for StarCraft 2 in here and Diablo 3, because Diablo 3 has, like, nothing until next year, apparently. I met with Jesse McCree, which is, like, one of the leads on Diablo 3, and they said, we won't be disappointed soon. So that probably means next BlizzCon. And StarCraft 2 just had, like, free-to-play, which is a big deal, I suppose, because it's a huge game. But that's all we had for those. It was definitely a WoW, and then Hearthstone, Overwatch, Heroes, BlizzCon. But Nobbel, what'd you...
big time Overwatch. They were all sporting them Overwatch shirts, weren't they?
Oh, yeah, they were. But Nobbel, what'd you think of all the announcements and stuff coming out of this year's BlizzCon? Because...
Just the exercise things?
Just everything else, yeah. What'd you think?
I mean, the cinematics blew me away. I love what they did with Alex Strauza. I just love the dragon model. Oh, it looks so cool. Like an actual dragon now. It's so cool. Except her elven form looks a little bit young, in my opinion, but whatever.
Right.
It's not
no,
canon.
seriously, like, she is like the dragon queen, and she looks like 15 years old. I'm like, what? But, I like the Hearthstone adventure. I think the cards, I've seen a couple of plays with them that look really, really fun. Like the treasure guy, you get like all these crazy ass cards. So that's interesting for me. But Heroes, I haven't played Heroes in ages, man. Heroes is one of those games to just pick up from time to time and play for an hour and then I'll be done with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point of the game, though, right? That's what it's supposed to be like, really.
I don't know. I think they want people to play it a lot. Whereas the updates, like...
It's more casual than... Dota or
yeah, true. But with the whole 2.0 upgrade that they did from what I experienced is that it mainly like loot boxes and sprays and emotes and all that. And apparently now they're adding another update to it, which should change the gameplay. Is that what I got right out of it?
For which one? For
Heroes of the Storm?
Well, no, Heroes 2.0 really changed the game drastically, I would say. Like, Heroes 2.0 is awesome. If you haven't played Heroes of the Storm before, but you were, like, apprehensive about the MOBA scene or whatever Blizzard wants to call their battle arena, it's definitely worth it, I would say. Like, I play Heroes intermittently here and there too, and it's awesome. Like, the best part about it is the slow integration of all of these key heroes from all the Blizzard properties, and to see how they work in this realm. Oh, it's great. No, I think it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. And there's like, it's really low barrier to entry too, because if you just want to, I have a lot of viewers and subs that just play against like the harder bots, and they're not even that bad. And you still get like the feeling of not being pressured by other people, but you're still like...
Yeah, problem for me though is that the bots are easily outplayed, as in if you go for the camps, then you'll win. Whereas if you go against people, that's like the bridge between going to people and playing against the hardest AI is a little bit too big for me, because the moment that I start playing against other people, it's toxic. And then I turn off chat, and then you have no communication. Toxic, right. So what you end up with is either you get a full group of people to play with, which is fun, but I don't have a full group to play with, right?
Oh.
No friends moment.
Oh, come on.
It's so dark inside your life.
It is.
Friends. No one understands you, Nobbel. That's your problem.
Sorry?
No one understands you, dude.
Yeah.
They just don't get who I am inside. I want to be where the people are.
Ooh.
Anyways, according to chat, apparently towers no longer have limited ammo, and they're going to change matchmaking, which is pretty damn cool.
There is quite a number of changes that are coming with like these, like with Alex Straza patch, essentially, which is awkwardly poetic because she's the life binder, and they're like breathing all this life literally into how the ranked system works and how matchmaking works and how just a lot of like how the gameplay feels. So yeah, there's definitely some really good improvements coming soon for sure. I mean, I keep up with it pretty good, but teach their own if you're interested or not. I was playing the Kobolds and Catacomb stuff here too. I've barely ever played Hearthstone for years, but I mean the dungeon run stuff looks pretty neat.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely, yeah. So the Hearthstone update isn't in the game yet, right? It's still something that needs to come. Because I've seen like Trollden videos where they already got the new cards. So did they add the new cards and the adventure still coming, or?
Yeah, I actually don't know. Does chat know about? It's just koboldsandcatacombs.com is the website for the Hearthstone update. Do they have a date for it yet? Because the 135 new cards, the new recruit mechanic, the new legendary weapons for all classes, and the dungeon run. And the dungeon run is just a straight up free upgrade.
Oh, they added one card, Marin. Oh, yes. The treasure guy, and the rest is going to be December. Gotcha.
Okay. So next month.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
That should be good.
Cool.
Yeah, that
Marin
should be good.
Meme. Yeah.
Well, yeah, apparently like he's just like not good. He's like not a good card. so people
I've seen
like...
some weird ass combos with him, man, like filling up the enemy's board.
Bad. It's just a really bad card.
Yeah, that's apparently what it was. Yeah, I don't know. That's apparently.
But you don't play Hearthstone, right, Preacher? At all.
I did quite heavily, and then it just drifted away from me.
Right.
The card, once I didn't get into collecting cards. That was my problem. It didn't catch me with collect all the things, and once that goes away, you kind of stuck then.
Yeah, I spent way too much money on Hearthstone for a free-to-play game. I spent so much money.
I'm not as much as Overwatch, but Andy's put some money into Hearthstone, I'm sure.
Oh, I think I spent maybe $50 in Hearthstone forever, but I don't know how much I've spent in Heroes. Don't talk about that. Just not for the show.
Heroes? Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, when the new loot system changed,
super expensive when it came.
I mean, some are, but it just depends. It depends on a couple of things. I was showing off the Dragons of the Nexus cinematic, and I wanted to point this out too. And I sleuthed the crap out of this. If you play the ultimate that Hanzo throws out in the cinematic is the exact same cinematic animation from his own Overwatch short. I checked. Just if you yes.
You compare it next to each other, like, does it look the same?
It's the same cinematic, which is fine because they just reused a really iconic scene, but it's funny. I was just watching it on screen, but yeah, it's the same exact cinematic everything, but it's way too good. Oh yeah, and of course I have people that have donated to me to open loot boxes in Overwatch because of the new Overwatch. I mean, not Overwatch, but Heroes. I have like 90 more left to open.
Wow, I'm not even bothering to open them. What a game pimp, honestly.
I think
people
I had like
throwing money at you, like I'm not even using it.
I know.
Not even using it.
I think I had like 156 in total, and I've opened like 60 of them, and there's still so many more to open.
And in the boxes, that's purely skins, sprays, and banners, right?
It's like everything, because everything can be in boxes now, so you can get, I mean, I own every hero, so I can't unlock heroes, but any skin, banners, sprays, icons, voice lines, everything. Yeah.
Right.
It's very similar to how Overwatch does now, even though apparently, what's this? This is like a side topic about loot boxes, but have you guys followed like the internet train recently about how, because
It's very hard
Blizzard's-
to miss.
Well, because Blizzard started doing loot boxes in Overwatch, now like every freaking game does loot boxes, and it's like ruining video games now.
I would say it was because of Blizzard doing that, but because the loot boxes are different in the other games. But
Right.
it's a problem we're having because we're debating. We've got on our schedule to do the new Star Wars next week, and we're kind of discussing whether we just don't do it because we did Shadow of War, which has the same problem, and it ruined the game. And so playing through that, a lot of people were angry at us for even looking at the game instead of like flat out boycotting it. But I was curious to see how the loot box thing had actually affected the game, so I wanted to find out rather than just bandwagon it.
Sure.
But we are debating now whether we even bother with Star Wars at this point, even though we want to play it. Like, you know, it looks fun, but I think I think the math is now 40 hours to get a character, a minimum, without spending a penny. You have to put 40 hours into the game to unlock a hero and stuff, and it's like, ugh.
Really?
Yeah, 40 hours because you get coins for time played, not really for objectives. Like playing the game properly doesn't earn you more than just being online and playing. So it's someone mathed it out that it's 40 hours to unlock a hero, which is just ridiculous. But you can speed it up with loot boxes, or buying currency, I should say.
Right.
So we can. I mean, we're on the fence. There's other things for us to play that aren't like that. You know, that's the issue. Our schedule's so busy with games that are coming out. It's like we can not bother with it if we want to.
For Shadows of War, that's the Mordor game, right?
Yeah, Shadows of War with the sequel to Shadows of Mordor. Yeah,
Yes.
Great
And
game
that was-
until you hit the wall. Like you hit a wall where you have to start just farming. And it just sucks everything out. Oh, you can buy loot boxes and speed the whole thing up. It's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a weird back and forth because you can. I've talked to someone in my chat before that's played the whole game and beaten Shadow of War without any loot boxes. But
yeah, you can.
The big slap in the face is that apparently you don't even get like the true ending of Shadow of War unless you have like all these like crazy prestige orcs at the end. And
you have to do something called Shadow Wars, which is when it's like there's like I want to say there's like 6 chapters. I'll be totally honest with you. Once the grind hit, I just stopped playing because it just sucked all the fun out of the game. I was like, I'm not finishing this game. This is garbage. And it turns into like a base management type thing about halfway through, where you're upgrading your base. It's like garrisons. It's like a WoD garrison thing.
Yeah. And
you have to go and recruit orcs, and you have to level the orcs and do all this kind of thing. It's like, oh.
Well, that's the thing we're bringing up, and the reason why I brought this up and why because you bring up Battlefront 2 and Shadow of War and where it quote unquote started a few years ago with Blizzard really bringing the main stage of loot box, which loot boxes have existed for so long before this, but I don't know why. It's just a big stage. But everything in Heroes and Overwatch, there's no power there. It's all cosmetic.
No, and they print money, and companies are watching that. Like when one of the holiday events happens in Overwatch, I'll sit here when Andy's streaming and he will just throw 50 quid at the game, like without question.
Right.
I did.
And then he never plays it, from what I know. He doesn't even play it a lot. And I think that's pretty widespread. Is Blizzard releases a lot of skins on a timed frame. People throw money at them to buy the skins and then rarely play. They just have a really good selection of characters that look cool.
Right.
And that seems to be a pretty widespread thing. They might put like 10 hours in between major holidays, which is not a great deal considering the money, but considering the money you're throwing at the game, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, I don't buy loot boxes or microtransactions or anything. So when I see it, I'm just like, Blizzard's just laughing. They're just printing this stuff. People aren't playing the game. They're just getting the skins.
Yeah.
And they're just buying skins. That's all they're doing. And I know that's a widespread thing. People rarely play, but they just buy the skins easily. So they're buying like the game again every little while and not playing it.
It's a weird,
very weird.
It's a weird little world, I guess, we live in that regard, because, and then of course they keep making more and more and more, and all like the Heroes videos, and I'm showing off the Overwatch stuff now. It's always funny because some people have little OCD moments about like collecting stuff, and it happens in WoW too with like mounts and the pets, and like the new Stuffy just came out The new stuffed animal just came out. Shadow, I think, is the little guy. So,
Yeah, it's a charity thing though, right?
of course, but like,
Yeah.
that's fine. But people still feel like I need this mount. I need to buy this mount. I need to get that. Yeah, I mean, I have my green one right behind me.
Yeah,
So,
Blizzard sent us a lot of Pirate Pepes to give away as well, which was really nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So it's a weird realm, and I don't think there's no one to point at it. It's if the company's going to make this and then, you know, quote unquote print their money, then it's the consumer that buys it all. If you
Well, it
don't,
works. We'd like
it
to think
does
it
work.
doesn't in our little bubbles,
Yeah.
but is it Ubisoft who's actually making more money now from microtransactions than games themselves?
I mean,
That's officially happened now.
SWTOR 2, like Star Wars: Old Republic, the MMO still has a player base, plenty, like hundreds of thousands of people, but like they'd make all their money now on their loot system in the game, the cartel market.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, that's always what happens, right? Same with early access and incomplete games. It's the
Right.
consumer who decides if it's going to be profitable or not, and if they're going to continue doing it. I preach. I start talking and you fade out. I do
Yeah.
not think this is a coincidence.
What's
Yeah.
this hate?
I do not
man?
think so, sir.
What is this hate?
Why do you have to bare your soul to me when I talk? I cannot
Yeah.
take the edginess.
Because I live in a frost dark area.
Come on. Ugh.
I shall
Yeah.
emote that I'm retreating back to the shadows. I go back to my shadows whenever you speak.
You have to do that.
You should be
Grunts.
playing Reaper, man. Reaper
You
is your
just don't
character.
understand me,
Yeah.
man. You just don't understand me. You just don't get me.
So we move, that's a bit of a controversial topic, and I guess I'll move us on to the other controversial topic, maybe. So at BlizzCon, this debuted, which you're not going to hear any audio because it's muted, and my region is broken a little bit apparently. But so Chromie came on screen with timey-wimey discombobulator button, and then it threw us back in time because Blizzard announced something. And I know you talked about this in your web show yesterday, Mike. And I know Nobbel has.
Oh, yeah.
You have like a rant video on your YouTube about this.
I did not rant. What?
No, Nobbel did. Nobbel has.
I did
Oh,
not
did
rant
you really?
either. I just shared my thoughts.
Okay.
I do
It's
not
like-
rant, sir.
it's like an hour long,
starting
though.
beef, actually.
It's like
Uh-huh.
Starting beef. You
Yeah.
see
It's
this
not an
one?
hour. It's like 10 minutes. What are you talking about?
I
You
don't
don't
know
even
about
watch
that.
me anymore. What am I doing here?
I don't know
Wow,
about that.
ranting, Nobbel. Is this true? Ranting and raging.
I would not dare.
Mhm.
Full on lies and fake news here.
I
But
thought
yes,
this was the
classic rounds.
hypest thing to come out of the whole thing. This was hype.
Yeah.
It's hard to not be hype. It's almost impossible to not be hype.
Yeah. Is it? I mean, I'm not gonna get all like critical like I was in the BTS podcast. You could listen to that if you'd like to. But so World of Warcraft
Oh, you
Classic.
don't dare now. Now it's on the YouTube channel, huh?
Oh, now
We're
it's in
afraid of
bubble.
the
He's not
comments.
sharing his real views.
Who was
This is-
responsible for what now, Bay?
This
Who was
is
talking
What
to
is
developers?
classic,
Fine then.
though?
No.
Is it vanilla or is it different, babe?
World of Warcraft
What is
Classic.
classic, really?
World
What
of
is
Warcraft
it
Classic
really?
will not be vanilla WoW. I swear to you, so up and down, it will not be vanilla WoW. It just won't be.
Shame.
It just won't be. You have no idea what's coming. I mean, they don't even know. We don't even know what's coming. They don't even know what's coming. Like it could be like
You-
3 years away. We'll be in
With your inside
9.0.
knowledge and your facts and your figures, what are we getting, babe? Tell the people what we're getting.
We're not gonna.
Tell us what you told us yesterday. You were talking to the developers about the difference between vanilla and
You've got
classic,
all
and
this
then
information,
Well,
and
no.
you're keeping it to your Patreon.
There-
Sell out.
there-
It's
wow.
a sellout. It's a
Sellout
scamaz.
move. Wow. Oh come on.
The whole thing's a bamboozle,
No,
a
I don't-
bayboozle.
It
Once
is.
again, another bayboozle.
Wait, don't make that a thing. It's already a thing. Son of a bitch. It's just, I just don't think. I saw this and I heard the crowd and I was standing there on the media platform and I was like, all right, Jab, you've done it. But A, it could be like 2 or 3 years away. B, they're still hiring people for the team, so it's not even being in development right now. C, what do they give us? Do they give us patch 1.0 or patch 1.8 and just let people like do their own thing? Do they give us like Battle.net integration? Do they give us meeting stones? Do they give us the high-res models or not? Do they lock off UI functionality because vanilla had very, very shoddy UI functionality? Like it
How
just
dare
won't.
you.
It just won't. Wow. It just won't be
And
vanilla
you
WoW.
wanted all of that, didn't you? You wanted it to change.
You want
do not
change,
want
don't
classic.
you? You want LFD and you want.
Oh, don't!
You want
You
it
want
all. don't you?
LFR.
Yeah,
Transcript.
LFR Molten Core will go over so well. We had that like what 2 years ago. That was a shit show, wasn't it? Oh my god.
I don't know about you, but we one shot it, babe. If you're gonna,
Oh, yeah, but like, how many times was it nerfed because like everyone else couldn't do Molten Core?
I don't know. I did it once.
It
Never
was
went back.
so same. It was really bad. So, well, if they put patch 1.8 on, then they could patch in the Silithus event because then we'd have the opening of Encourage again with 1.9. That's what I was meaning, Lefty. But yeah, I don't know. Like, how are they gonna do this? They don't even know. They have no idea.
They should. It should be pretty easy.
Oh, really? What should they do, Mike? What should they do?
They should just provide classic as people have been fighting for years at this point and have warred against Blizzard. The only issue that you brought up yesterday, which I agree with, is BattleNet, but really that's a friends list. That's not a big deal, right? It's going to have to be on the BattleNet launcher. It's going to have to work that way. There you go. The only question I have is, are you starting it at the start of vanilla? Oh, we're not allowed to call it vanilla. Is that right, babe? What are we calling it? Classic Plus? What did you say?
No, you call it Classic Plus with your
What was
web show madness.
Nobbel, back me up here. Really?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat, but like we also said yesterday, like you mentioned it in not having a dog in the fight. Like, I don't want to speak for other people, but I imagine that when people have been asking for classic, and for me as well, I would like to see classic in the game. I do not want any quality of life changes because even small changes would kind of disregard the fact that it's not classic, it's something else. Like bug changes, sure. Like you don't want to fall through the floor. Changing it so that shaman gear doesn't drop on the Alliance side, yeah, okay, that's not mind-blowing.
Sure.
But I've heard suggestions of transmog and auto loots and group loots and indeed summoning stones and all these changes that might make the game easier, but is that still classic, I wonder? And is that still what people have been asking for?
Right. You brought up one very key thing right there. Because actually you said auto loot and like the AoE looting. No one remembers killing like 16 furbogs and walking over going click, click.
Yes, they do. Those people are currently playing on private realms and they want that experience. They want to provide an experience.
I remember.
That's the base that's been fighting for this. And now all of a sudden the people that have never played it or are not interested in it are like, yeah, but I want it, but I also loot and I also want this and that and this and that.
Right.
But that's not the group that's been asking for it, though.
Yeah. I know.
Look, I'm fine. I think they should launch with as it was, and then they should do what other games have done. Because the content's going to get eaten up so fast.
Oh yeah, of course.
Is they could put it to a public vote down the line. Is look, do you actually still want this now? You've come back to it and you've played it for a while, or do you want us to do something? That's fine. If they put it to a community vote, I think that's fine down the line. But I think the start of this needs to be what people have been asking for. That's fine. That's what the war has been for. And as long as we continue to get a lot of threads with people asking for different things, I'll be happy because I like reading them.
Oh,
I just hope that Bloodlust isn't just Horde only in vanilla like it was, apparently.
Yeah, who started there's no Bloodlust and Heroes until Burning Crusade.
No, it was Horde only. I think you're confused. Babe.
Okay.
Only. Definitely, I remember.
Definitely Horde only. Like those cleansing totems. Blizzard favoritism that only Horde could do Viscidus in AQ40 because we didn't have cleansing totems as Alliance. We had to like stack like 90 paladins for cleanse, of course.
Yeah. What was the Alliance version of Wind Fury totems, by the way?
Blessing of Salvation, learn to play.
Yeah, Blessing of Salvation. We had Blessing of Might.
Which was amazing.
Was that the one where you sacrifice yourself to put someone in a bubble?
No, that's Divine Intervention.
Divine Intervention.
Oh, I missed that one, man. That was great. Mm-hmm. We're wiping some DI.
Yeah, Blessing of Salvation was great. We were jelly. We were jelly of Blessing of Salvation.
Because that was the one that did what?
It reduced your threat so you could carry bad tanks, there was a lot of those. There was a lot of those around. So you did way less threat, so you didn't have to be AFK and press escape sometimes and things like that.
The image that came up on screen about the vanilla back in time was actually really good. I don't know. I mean, I'm all for it. I've always been for it if Blizzard wants to support it and make it themselves. I just really think that it's way out. We don't know what's going to happen. And because if they do any quality of life, half of the people that wanted it are going to hate it and not want it and then go back to their private servers. And then everyone that wanted the quality of life but didn't get what the quality that they want are going to hate it and not want to play it either. And they're going to eat it up in like a month.
Thing ever, though. When it launches, it's going to be insane for about 2 weeks, and then the population will die off, and the guys who really enjoy it and really want to play it, they'll stick around, and that's fine.
Right.
That's fine. I hope they don't make like 8 servers or something because so many people and then suddenly they're all spread out. But they might plan for that and then phase everybody back into one realm or something like that.
Maybe.
They might, because they know that the train of people that are going to try it when it launches is going to be bigger than any expansion they've ever released, maybe, compared to like TBC and Wrath. When this thing goes live, it'll be nuts. And then people are going to go, this is horrible.
Yep.
Like people who don't know what they're getting into are going to go, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. Assuming we get Classic or Vanilla. Which one is it, Bay? Whichever one we get, it'll be like that. And that'll be, the rush will be insane. Blizzard, and then suddenly it'll just die off. Like, and that'll be, I mean, I showed a lot of old videos yesterday on the web show of like, just to refresh people what it was like a little bit.
Yeah.
And people were just like, oh, okay. That's a little different than now. It's like, there's a lot of things actually that people aren't talking about, like mana being such a big thing for DPS. I think some people, because that went away at Wrath, where mana was a thing,
right?
And that's a long time ago, right? Wrath's like what, 8 years ago or something like that. So there's got to be so many players who try Classic who wouldn't even consider that mana was a problem for DPS, and when it happens, they'll just be like, "What is this? What is this garbage? Why can't I?"
But they could just stand with a little wando, and each one had like a different spell type, and then you had monsters who were immune to that spell.
But wanding only worked if you had a paladin judging wisdom, because then your auto attacks with your wand would give you back mana. Otherwise, you're just standing there with your base regen, which was garbage. Yeah, unless you were a paladin.
Somebody who played a priest, I'll have you take those words back.
Oh, okay.
My 5-second rule was crisp, all right? Just because I had to stand AFK regularly during boss fights, that's good gameplay. And I want it back.
The 5
Didn't you also have the option to keep like somebody outside of the battle and they could come in to rest people?
Yeah, they fixed that relatively quickly, but you could have, usually you had a paladin or priest not engage with the fight, and they could just keep rezzing people who died because they were out of combat. Good times, man.
Great oldies, I suppose.
I'm excited. I'm so excited for it. I am. I'm so excited for it. There's things I want to achieve that I couldn't achieve in vanilla, mainly because I played a priest. So I want to be a tank and do it properly. Now I'm going in and not doing my first ever tanking run, which was in Stratholme, where I just didn't know what was happening. People were telling me to press Sunder Armor. It did no damage, so it made no sense to me. This was crazy. These people were lying to me. And ultimately, I put my two-hander back on, and definitely got more aggro with Mortal Strike than Sunder Armor, and therefore fixed.
So
there you go.
I want to go back as a non-noob and play it for sure. There's lots of things.
This is a small microcosm here. When you were discussing that, I forgot that Bellular put up a poll just on his Twitter a little while ago about WoW Classic, should Blizzard make changes? So it was quality of life increases, bug fixes only, or no changes at all. So almost 1,800 people have voted right now. More than half is just bug fixes only.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, right?
I mean, I know a lot of people are being loud about the change. I still think that's the minority who don't really know what they're getting into.
Right.
And they're certainly not the guys who fought for this, right? They're not those guys who have been standing on that wall fighting this battle and had to have, you think you want it, but you don't, thrust upon them. So, I mean, like I say, I think they should go. If I was them, I would give the classic experience. Basically, you can only do that by providing what it was.
Right.
You could either start early or you could start it around the next patch, so all the content's there. And if they want to change things later, then that's fine. People vote for it after a while. And if they vote to keep things as they are, they vote to keep things as they are. But that's the community's choice. And it also shifts the burden off Blizzard. I don't think it's going to stop private servers no matter what they give, to be honest, because there's some people who just can't afford WoW. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but Classic is not going to be free. I would doubt.
That's what I'm saying. So people will still stay on private servers regardless.
Right.
You're not going to get everybody, but people will be definitely prefer to pay to have Blizzard look after their characters.
Customer support, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, what happens when there's so many problems with it, though. That's the thing. There are obvious problems. When they run out of content, what are they going to do? People are now paying for this. What are you going to do? People are going to start asking for more. And do you give them the TBC? and then stagger them and have several servers that are all in different periods of time? What do you do? I don't know.
Yeah, but I
That'll be
imagine
interesting
that
to see
people,
how that unfolds.
I imagine people on private realms right now are also in the same boat where they're like at the end of Classic and they don't have anything else to do. But apparently that's what I enjoy, right?
Well, no, it's not that. I mean, for me, if you go to a private server, you understand they're definitely under no possible way going to make more dungeons or raids or whatever, right?
Right.
It's not Blizzard's game. They're just giving you this. But this is different. This is the Blizzard version. And people will expect them to do stuff, especially if they're paying Blizzard for it. I think so. I think people will have a different approach than a private server where they definitely know there's nothing ever coming, and so they wouldn't really ask, compared to a Blizzard version, especially if the server's popular.
Yeah, if it's popular, maybe they'll actually decide to open up different realms for Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King and keep the main game running and just not do anything at all. Just shut down WoW and just give us legacy realms. Done with it. I mean, at the end of WoW, I mean, that could be a WoW legacy. Like, I'm not saying that they should quit making WoW, of course, because, you know, I'm still playing the live version. But say that we do get to the point that where WoW ends, and WoW is going to end at some point.
Yep.
I imagine that keeping legacy realms running like that for those that enjoy it with individual expansions could be a great model if people are willing to pay $15 for that.
People play Classic from till the end, till that server dies and runs out of battery power or whatever. You know what I mean? People will, when this goes live, people will be there for the rest of their gaming lives, and they'll stay there forever. It's not a server that's suddenly going to have 0 people on it. That's not going to happen.
We'll
I mean, people
have to wait and
play
see.
WoW forever. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what comes out. People still play it.
Yeah, because we went over this, and it was the different parts that we broke down, and there's a couple of things in the notes about, like, because there's so many different parties involved with the different avenues of who enjoys and who wants this, and what one person may want out of Classic or Vanilla or Classic Plus or whatever is not the same as what someone else wants. So then what kind of splinter faction do you even get that will then, is this part of the regular sub? Is this like an extra $5 on your live sub or its own sub to pay to do this for how long? And then is that even worth it for Blizzard to do and hire another team to curate, cultivate, program in, retrofit to then work forward now? Because obviously the engine that ran WoW Classic, original vanilla WoW, is nothing like the one now. It's a totally different file system completely. So do they make it on the new file system? How do they make that? How long does it take?
I think those are questions that most of us don't care about, though. That's what they've agreed to take on.
Right.
I would imagine, from Blizzard's point of view, it's better just to have it under the same sub model, because your retention levels are going to be much higher if you do that. I think, because as soon as it's, look at now in WoW, there's not much to do right now. Certainly, if you're like a raider or something, it's very quiet. Everyone's just farming AP, waiting for Azeroth. This is the time when people will go, let's go play some Classic for a bit, right? Maybe. Whereas other people who like just do LFR and stuff like that, they run out of content much quicker, and maybe then they'll go play Classic, and they're still paying their subscription rather than canceling their sub. Right. I would look at it probably that way. It's like, can we get better retention because we have the same game but different versions, and therefore there's far more monthly payments going through. I kind of think that might be where they go. If they charge extra for it, I think that'd be a really bad idea.
Oh, of course.
They could split the model off. You could get a Classic only subscription. Maybe you could do that. But I would really not like it if they did an extra fee on top of the normal monthly subscription to include Classic in it as well.
The good part, if they can integrate it, is that you can actually use the whole sub-token thing, buy it with gold, give you a reason to farm up gold, and pay your subscription with that, and then just play Classic for free. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. There's only little things too.
I wouldn't be pro adding another fee to the game to get Classic in.
No.
Because it's like a nice feature. I also think it's free filler content for them while they work on other stuff.
They're already adding another fee to the game, as you went over yesterday in your web show with the allied races and the whole like cash shop debacle that's creating, which
that's causing a lot of problems for a lot of people. They're not liking it, and rightfully so. It's so expensive.
Yeah,
it's so expensive. Like $26 for you guys, I think. £19 for us.
Yep, something like that. Well, no,
there should be a free one. That's all we concluded. You should get a free one with Battle for Azeroth. There should be a free race change included.
Right. So
I think it's also a bit of a problem because most people expected the new races to be purely cosmetic, as in you go to the barber shop once you unlocked it and you're changed.
Yeah.
But now they also come with racials that actually change the gameplay. Therefore, they are in the shop.
Yeah, the Tauren gets an extra charge, right?
The High Mountain has basically a directional targeted charge, the Bull Rush, that is not like no reticle, nothing. It just charges you forward 15 yards and you knock things down for 1 second in your hitbox. But it uses movement too. It's like a movement little dash rush as well. But they're real. And then the Lightforged Draenei right now currently have a really crappy like little orbital zap light beam that comes down and does like damage. So
and they explode on death, right? Like they heal and deal damage.
They also do that. Yeah, they're like little bombs when they blow up and they die.
Suicide Draenei.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does like.
For the Naru.
Yeah. So I've always been a staunch person against power racials, but they're never gonna take them out of the game. So whatever.
Well, it's a good money earner. Like, it makes no sense from a gameplay point of view to have them in there, especially when they remove them from professions and put them into racials. Yeah. But for people paying for race changes, it totally makes sense. Yep. Even though they're so minor and small. I was just looking at it now, like the Lightforged Draenei getting Light's Judgment, Holy Energy, Holy Damage they get to do to all enemies within 5 yards with a 2.5-minute cooldown. So they get an AoE damage spell.
Yes. At least currently, yeah.
Yeah, well, currently this is all subject to change. Yep. Reduce holy damage taken by 1%. Biss, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's the weird thing. High Mountain Tauren have currently they have 1% more versatility and a flat incoming damage reduction, like an actual numerical one. So
and a chance to loot additional meat and fish.
Yeah.
Sure,
why not?
Sorry, what was that with fish? Excuse me?
A chance to loot additional meat and fish.
Yes.
My God.
I mean, the farming potential is off of the charts right now.
But there's a chance, right? It's like, 1%.
But that leads us into the second half of the show, basically. So anything else do you want to touch on about BlizzCon itself, maybe? Or are we good to move forward? Because I
regret not being there, because the whole reason we weren't there was to cover it. So we just got... I hated Bay sending all those pictures out. Look at all the people I'm partying with. Awesome. I was like, God damn, man. God damn. Because it's such a crazy place. Like, when we've been there, I mean, we only got to spend... We met up twice, I think, last BlizzCon. And even then, it was... In fact, we ended up doing an interview in a corridor where a guy was trying to get rid of us because we were like, well, just film it here. We'll just do it down here in this corridor. And he's like, what are you doing? But it's like, we have no time. We have to do this. So... Yeah, we'll be there next year. I'll say it now. We'll be there next year.
And I had a great time covering BlizzCon. Like, everybody else was being taken out, and I was like,
you weren't even going to stream, man. You basically you weren't.
I was. Why did you think I stayed home? I was going to join the hype train.
Shall I read the tweet you sent me? The private message.
Okay. Okay. I'm curious now because I haven't sent you a private message in ages.
Okay, well, I've got the one just before BlizzCon started, 3:47 p.m., which says you weren't going to stream.
I'm going to see what I messaged you.
You can check that right there, because I invited you to be on our show.
You got to slide back into those DMs and figure out what you've done.
What?
You see?
I told you I was going to go live myself, therefore I couldn't go to the show. That wasn't on, that was on Twitter.
Keep reading.
Was planning to stream some WoW until the opening ceremony and watch it on an iPad, yeah?
Yeah, that says to me you're going to turn the stream off and watch iPad. That's what I read.
Yeah, but that was because I wasn't allowed to restream it because some of us aren't so well connected with Blizzard that they just get flat out permission. So I was going to turn it off on stream like I did with the audio and watch it on my iPad and stream it like that.
Casual. Our setup was amazing.
Some of us don't get permission for stuff like that. They're like, no, Nobbel, you're not allowed to recast it. But I Preach, I'm good connected. I can restream if I want.
By Blizzard, the whole shabazz. We had it all set up proper.
And then your internet died.
Yeah, exactly. Regrets were had, man.
Preach just moved his region, and all of a sudden mine just freaked out too. What'd you do? What'd you do? There we go.
I was just showing different scenes. It should be fine.
Yeah, it should be fine.
That's beef, Nobbel. That's beef.
Always beef, mate. Always
the beef.
Since the dawn of time.
Gosh, just awful. Alrighty.
But do I have anything else to say about BlizzCon? No, really. It was awesome to see. I love the additional panels that they did with the virtual tickets. The demos that they uploaded were absolutely amazing. Like, you actually get a chance to see early content because otherwise you would have to be there physically. And no, I love the show. Even the host was awesome. Like, last year's host was an absolute tool with his fucking Donald Trump jokes, and this year was amazing. What?
Beef.
Oh, this is news to you.
No, I'll tell you what was good, and I think you'd agree with me, Nobbel. The virtual ticket extras they put in were really good.
Huh.
Yeah, all the virtual ticket extras. We got to see some crisp Ret Paladin gameplay from Lore, which was really good. And we got to see the new dungeons. They uploaded all that stuff for us for those people who weren't watching other streams. They put all these cool virtual ticket things out.
Yeah, that's something I heard about that.
Not to mention the mounts. Like, the mounts are... Ooh.
The all-access pass, or whatever they called it technically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of extra ones, and like every panel, even like the smaller ones, were all at least streamed to part of the ticket, so you can go back and watch them still. Whereas like the years before wasn't a thing. So you just if there was like a voice actor panel and you weren't at BlizzCon, then you're screwed. But now it's all there. The opening ceremony too, we had a couple of talks about this too with different people, either people from Blizzard or just people from the community. That was awesome. That it was a huge tie-in because it went to the different stages, and that was awesome.
Oh, were people not pissed about that?
No, it was amazing. I heard
people wait for the opening ceremony, the main hall, for like 2 hours, don't they? And then when they said it was gonna be on different stages, I think I would have. But
it was a multiple stages, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, like every time I've been, people charge through the door to the main stage and they set up like a little camp for like 2 hours before the opening ceremony starts to make sure they have a good seat. And then he came out and he was like, "Well, it's going to be on different stages."
It wasn't.
I thought those guys would have lost their minds at that. Like, I've sat here for 2 hours to watch a good seat, and I could literally have gone to any stage that I wanted to. Because we went and watched the Hearthstone stage.
Yeah, it wasn't completely communicated well, but now everyone's going to know going forward that that's going to be how BlizzCon will open. Because if you're an Overwatch or Hearthstone or Heroes, right, you're going to want to be at, because your stuff starts like automatically after the opening ceremony. Yeah. So it was awesome to bounce from the main stage to the Overwatch arena to when Darren DePaul came out. Oh, it was so good. And then whatever to Ben Brode. But that was actually a really good way to tie the big stages together. So
I agree.
It was awesome. Yeah. It was really good. And more people got to sit. I wonder. I mean, maybe they didn't realize it at first. Right. But I think now going forward, you'll know that you'll just go to the stage you want to watch the opening ceremony at, and it means you could all just be part of it, because last BlizzCons, if you weren't there, you were just, again, you were snubbed.
Yeah, I mean, the last one we went to, we walked around where the main stage was. We met Darren DePaul and had a really cool video with Andy talking to Darren DePaul. And then we went off to I think it was the Hearthstone stage or somewhere like that, and sat and had loads of room, really cool. And that's how we enjoyed it, rather than, because I'm not going to sit down for 2 hours. I'm not doing that. That's just not what I'm going to do. I just chilled out and met people. We walked around a bit, and then we went and sat and watched the opening ceremony somewhere else. And because last year, actually, the year before, we sat behind you, Bay, because you were on the photo thing.
Yes.
Remember?
Yep.
And it was like some cosplayers. I mean, I love the cosplayers at BlizzCon, but if you get sat next to a cosplayer who's wearing a big outfit, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare, because you're getting poked with swords and shoulder pads and all that, and you're just like, oh man. So we wandered off this time, and I think going forward, it's going to be a far better system. I think they should have let people know beforehand,
right,
that they were going to do that. I think a little message saying, look, we're going to be moving around the stages a little bit this time.
Well, we'll know now. Like, that was like, a beta test.
Now we know.
Yeah, it was like a beta test this year, so it'll definitely be better. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, all right then. I'm going to chop us into the mid-show break, and then we can actually get into what everyone is actually here to listen to about, is to listen to Preach talk about Battle for Azeroth, and then Nobbel to talk about the story. Or something. What was that?
Jaina's mana bomb, right?
Huh?
Oh, you're gonna go there again. Jaina dropping a mana bomb. I was watching your show and I was like, he's gonna go into the lore. And oh no!
I was close enough.
Just terrible. All right, I'm gonna mute you guys. But again, I would not be sitting in this seat right now if it wasn't for all the support that has come through on the channel over the last couple of years on our Patreon page, because again, like, what's YouTube as an ad revenue source to keep people in business, right? So of course, if you want to support the stream directly right here with the subscribe button on Twitch, all of us have it. So you could go subscribe to Nobbel or to Preach or anyone else on Twitch. That's how this works. The button is like up there, I think, right there. But of course, Troffles, Ludovicus, Taislin, R4, Dalthair, Screws Loose, and Mia, thank you very much for the continued support. Way too much. You guys are ridiculously nice nerds. But over on Patreon, there are additional podcasts that are taking place that usually are the unscripted meet and greets there's another hour and 9 minutes of the three of us just complete nonsense from last night. You can go check that out over on Patreon. You can follow along on the show notes for the shows. There is the Taliesin and Evitel BTS podcast from last week, and more and more and more. I think we're up to like 28. How many do we have now? We have 26 additional shows that are all there. They're all going to be eventually at the $2 tier. Just like that's just going to be the way that the BTS stuff works out in the future. So if you want more of the podcast, either from the live shows with the guests that I normally talk to, like the regular fare here on the channel, or as the show evolves over time, there'll be other YouTubers that aren't really directly tied to World of Warcraft anymore. We have people like Spazzy and Pallytime and SkillUp, just to name a couple. We also have possibly like 1 or 2 cosplay shows coming up to sort of like dive into that avenue of that. It's not directly tied to World of Warcraft, but again, cosplayers that do WoW stuff. So there'll be more things on the show as it evolves over the course of the end of this year into next year. So if you want it to keep going and me to keep talking to other nerds so you can listen to them talk about nerdy things, that's where to do it. Or you can go over to this page right here and just do this. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in for a minute. I'm gonna unmute Discord. Have either of you seen the I'll Be Your Bae shirt, by the way? I need some like live reactions. What do you think?
I'm seeing it on screen right now. That's, oh my god, it's like a
Very
Hawaiian
rare.
shirt, but 10 times worse.
Are your eyes
Worse?
green, or is this another Baboozle?
No, my eyes are green. What?
Are you sure?
I'm
Who told you that?
sure. They're green. What? You can't see them behind my glasses, but come on.
This feels like a Baboozle.
They're staring into my soul, man. They're like judging me and inviting me over, and then I'll never escape the dungeon ever again.
If I
Please
got
take
you
it
one
away.
of those, would you wear it on your streams though?
Of course.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I might add some googly eyes to it, but of course.
I
You
mean,
need
my eyes
slots
are
and
already
caps.
kind of googly as it is, but yeah,
It's very intense.
it is.
Yes, it is.
It's very intense. It's very intense. I don't know if it's overwhelming me a little bit.
I mean, that's sort of. It was made as like a gag shirt. It's my first like all over print with this little face blip, right? So I mean, if you guys have the art for your heads too that Tutron made. So if you want to make your own all over prints, you know what to do.
I think people don't want to see my face that much.
Are you sure?
As a
You'd be
as a
wrong, though.
kindness to them.
But look at
I
your
w- I
chin
want-
though.
It needs a black wig on it though, and then put it.
I just I'm gonna do the world a favor and not
Try.
put my face out that many times.
Oh my gosh. But the last little end card I was going to do there, of course, is they have YouTubes. And if you don't watch their YouTubes, I don't know why you're even here, but that's Preach's YouTube, which is still Mike Preach WoW.
They said it changed.
It's not. It's still Mike
I
Preach
know,
WoW.
it's that's a Baboozle as well.
No, it's not. Oh,
Look
I
at my dramatic picture. Look at that. Look at that thumbnail. Oh,
can't-
we got Wonder Woman in there. We've got me looking shocked. Oh my god.
Oh
You
my
know?
God, clickbait. I mean, sorry, no, you don't do clickbait. Nobbel does clickbait, right, Nobbel? You do clickbait?
Excuse me?
More
me?
caps lock.
Yeah, more caps lock. Absolutely.
more
The
caps
fuck do
lock.
I do clickbait for? What?
Where's
Yeah.
your...
What? Where do I do clickbait?
You have one clickbait, non-clickbait video that still makes me laugh to this very day. I brought it up on the show with Bellular like 2 weeks ago. It's so good.
Which one?
The one that you made that is not clickbait. What's it called again? Oh my gosh. I have to find it
You
now.
tell me. You're the one talking about me behind my back.
You made this thing. Chat's gonna find it before I am because I don't remember where it was. Bellular found it like that though. He was like, "It's this video right
Yeah,
here."
but he is like the king of clickbait, so of course he found it first. Come on.
Right, of course it was. But you made it as like a funny nod, and it's actually. Yeah.
Oh, is it the Chromie scenario one? Like who would murder a Chromie?
Who's
No.
Chromie?
Her name is Cromie, by the way, on this when he's around. You remember, Nobbel? Cromie. Mike, you need to work on your pronunciation sometimes. Otherwise, I shoot it on purpose to like send people into an absolute tizzy.
I would never do that.
Wait, quick.
That is just not true.
Oh, the speculation on the future of WoW. You won't believe what happens next. Oh,
Oh yeah.
we're gone in the circle. Yeah.
Yeah. But I need Mike to do this for me real quick. Mike, can you please say Sargeras?
Serge Geras.
No, God.
What's up with Serge? What's up with it? Sargeras. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got one for you, mate. How
Yeah?
would you say? How would you pronounce the old orc leading the orcs right now?
Thrall.
No, the other one. Right now.
We named him Dranosh.
What, Sourfang?
Apparently, Sourfang is pronounced Sourfang. Dinosaur Sourfang. The more you know.
Not in my
Yeah, he
world.
is.
Not in
No,
my
he's
world.
not.
According to Blizzard people, he is.
Well,
It's
they're wrong, though.
It's definitely Sourfang.
Mhm.
Granted,
Yeah.
when we found out that it wasn't pronounced it wasn't pronounced Elodie, it was pronounced Alodai, I
Oh,
lost
God,
my
blew
mind.
my mind, actually. That completely blew my
No!
mind. When they said that, I was like, wrong.
Wrong.
I mean,
I
I've
got
been
so
saying-
many like those, man. Like Draenor, Draenor, Atiesh, Atish. Oh,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so many.
Yeah.
Curry Zone? What?
Mediv is pretty good.
Mediv? Come on.
Mediv, yeah.
Nuh-uh. I don't live on this planet anymore. Don't talk to me. All right.
Macari!
Yeah, instead of Macquarie or something, whatever it was.
Macari, yeah, man. And then
Yeah.
the devs, they go out with a Macari, and then it's a Macari, it's a macaroni, it goes everywhere.
It's a macaroni. It goes everywhere.
To be fair, Cthulhu was a long-standing one that people got wrong.
Oh my god. It's yeah.
So it was Cthulhu forever.
Cthulhu. Always Cthulhu. The hard U. The hard U,
Yeah.
man. But anyway,
It's fictional. Who
I
cares?
guess.
That's even real. Give it up.
Give it
fine.
up, he says.
He's the
So-
big red guy.
He's the big red guy.
Kill Jarden.
No!
Oh, God, stop hurting me, man.
Stop it. I'm playing the Battle for Azeroth cinematic. Let's talk about Battle for Azeroth now for the next like hour. So yeah, no, don't bring up the old gods. Stop it. No. Don't
we give
do
a
it.
spoiler warning, by the way?
I mean, should be a spoiler warning? Have people not seen the Battle for Azeroth cinematic?
There's
Sure.
no expansion coming.
When I'm going to Amanda, we're going to talk about the story, right?
Yeah, of course we will.
Oh, but there is story links to what we're about to do in
Correct.
Antaurus, though. You see, I know what you're talking about. As a lore nerd myself, Nobbel, I think it's a very respectable choice you just made.
As a lore nerd myself, did you just hear the words that came out of Mike's mouth, chat?
I have read a page of Illidan's book.
He has actually made a video on Jaina as well, the story of Jaina.
I did. Derek Proudmore was in it. He's nice.
Can you know, I just let it happen. I can't even control. It's whatever it is. It's fine. I feel like I need to pause the video and like make sure chat's in the VOD because people that are watching this on YouTube need to know what you're doing to them. Yeah, Susan Windrunner. Yeah.
Susan Wicker.
Oh, never forget Susan.
Hey, at least I embraced it and put it on the PreachCon stage.
I
It works
don't.
well.
I don't understand anymore. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to the cinematic. I'm gonna go full screen for a moment here. Again, my region is broken. My bad.
This cinematic has one of the best moments in any Blizzard cinematic ever.
if not the best Blizzard cinematic for WoW ever made.
Quality-wise, it's out of this world, man.
Absolutely fantastic. I could gush.
Talk about stuff that hasn't happened yet. I mean, I thought the Banshee Scream was disappointing. I wanted to I wanted that to be a bit more
You think so?
ballistic. Yeah, it was cool that she actually did it, and I wanted it to be a bit more devastating.
I mean, you weren't in the auditorium when it happened, though. You were in the hall.
I was not affected by the hype train. Thank you. As an objective viewer, babe, unaffected
What the heck does
by
that
the screen.
mean?
Like, you had the audience go for the horde with her, but
As somebody
You watch
watching
it
it
from
on a
home.
phone, I have a better
Oh,
perspective.
you were on it. Oh my, that's. Well, I did
No.
try to make an audio mashup that had the auditorium volume roll in and break my microphone, so you could listen to that to get at least a glint. But when like 20,000 or 15,000 people or however many people are in the auditorium scream, it's the pressure in the room changes, and it was insane. Like that right there, I will confirm that despite all of my Alliance love, because I'm an Alliance player, the For the Horde yell was more deafening than the Alliance one, only because it has a double whammy shock value of the Banshee scream into the For the Horde, versus Manduin's was way more emotional. Like, holy shit!
Yeah, like
what did our king just do?
When the best scene in this whole cinematic for me is when Varian looks up at the sky.
Excuse me? When who?
Varian. Who?
Why do I even bring you on my show? What are you doing, man?
Oh, it's too easy. Anyway, no, the bit with Anduin looking is amazing. Like they captured his emotions so well that he can't be his father. As much as like I'm not into the story, this bit where he's like, I'm not my dad.
Yeah,
And
it speaks
he
volumes,
embraces his
Yeah.
Disc Priest origins and lays down the mass res. Like this, I thought this was one of the best moments they've ever captured in a cinema. I thought it was fantastic.
I gotta
the
pause.
emotions-
Mass
all there.
res, by the way. I don't think it was a mass res. I think it was because resing is like you can see actually in the cinematic, everybody's still crawling around and all that.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
kinda
mass
put it as-
healing-
was it power barrier? That's what I kind of got an impression.
Holy
it's supposed to be.
Nova power, something
Yeah,
like
That's
that.
not
but
Holy
no.
Nova works though, dude.
Oh, come on. The way the story lore stuff happens isn't the same. I mean, because we all know, well, spoiler alert, this book is like almost 2.5 years old now. Like, if you die in the books, like the canon of the game, you're dead, right? But obviously in game, we die and we just go back to our bodies and we're back alive again. They work differently. Come on. It's like a combination of
It's not
all
Holy
these
Nova.
things.
No matter which kind of Bayboozle you're trying to pull here,
Yeah, fine.
You
It's not
know,
holy Nova.
audience.
It's an AoE heal, all right? An AoE heal.
it's barrier.
Yeah.
In game, you also don't have a priest swing around melee weapons, smack somebody in the ground and creating a crater. Now, do ya?
To be fair, I've seen some melee priests in my time, dude. I've seen some melee priests in my time. It's clearly barrier. Look,
It's a
this bit,
combination.
this bit here with his
It's not a
face
mass
is fantastic.
res. Let's agree on that. It's not a
No,
mass.
I don't think it is a mass res. I think it is,
Right.
but I do think it's barrier.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to represent barrier.
Who's
And
a
that
good
moment
boy?
with facial expressions as well is so good. And Sourfang kicking the crap out of Anduin. Well, cool.
Sourfang, can you read a book, man?
Sourfang.
Sorry, Sourfang.
No.
Sourfang.
He's not a dinosaur. He's an orc.
Read a book, dude. Embarrassing at this point.
Sourfang. Oh my good glob.
For the Alliance! Roar! And then Sylvanas
Roar.
looks at him like, well done, kid. Let's go. Let's go.
There
So
is,
cool.
yeah, I still have a video that I'm going to put out because I'm a film nerd, right? So I went to film school, all the film background nonsense, worked in the industry for like 3+ years, all this stuff. I'm going to make a video. Whoops, that's the wrong button. That I'm going to just like put the cinematic up and like pause and play and scroll back through and like talk about what like different parts and different camera movements like mean, like cinematic grammar. There is so much stuff that the audience at large doesn't get from how good this cinematic is. It is.
I was surprised because we had a lot of people say it wasn't that good, but I can watch that so many times.
Oh,
I think it's
absolutely.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. It was
No.
emotional, and that's what it needed to be because they
Yeah.
want to inspire us to get into conflict. So that's what the whole expansion's about.
Yep. No, it
But I just
is.
wish the Banshee Screamers is a bit more hard because I've waited a long time for the Banshee Queen to go Banshee, and I was like, she killed like 4 people. Yeah, well. Let's up those numbers. That's rookie numbers.
No, she killed 2 or 3 people on the way to the tower, and then destroyed the entire siege tower with whoever's in that, and
with
then
the Banshee Scream, keep up.
oh,
Big.
just
We're
with the
talking about
Banshee
Banshee
swoosh.
Scream. Yeah.
Only so much can fit in the scene. Mike, come on.
Yeah, she could have killed more people in the scene.
Oh, you just want to see her murder people.
Murder, bloodshed.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, for the Horde. That's
For
what's going to get the Horde going. Is some good quality murder.
Is
That
that?
Throw on the battlefild, electrocute everybody like you did with Garrosh.
Can we get
Yeah.
some?
Why
let's see,
didn't that guy cast chain lightning? Anybody else triggered by that? I was expecting chain lightning.
Can we get some SM orcs in chat for all the Horde that want some good old fashioned murder? Like just get one of those. Just throw that.
Good
in
old
chat.
question.
Good old fashioned murder. That's what we
Well,
want.
I'm waiting for the delay, and then it's gonna go. So that's fine. That's fine. Yep. Here it goes. Yep.
What is
There.
bad quality murder? When they get back up, that's bad quality murder.
Yeah. Exactly.
when you've got Alliance spamming the BG with healers. Classic, actually.
Yeah. Exactly.
Classic Alliance maneuver.
Come
2 deeps,
on.
2 deeps, 8 healers. Wow.
Yep. For sure. But okay, the chat's going
Why was
absolutely
that
bonkers.
wolf there, though? What was that about?
I don't know.
Sorry?
Because it's a good
What was
dog.
what?
Because Greymane's a good boy. Who's a good boy?
If Anduin gave him a treat, I would just be so happy.
No. There's already like
Just threw a treat.
He's like the old Shiba Inu now, where there's like an image of him with like the much good boy, very very healed. Wow, thanks. Like there's that picture of Greymane after he gets rezzed or whatever. It's so good, obviously. And then there's so many that came out because there's like Mama Jaina now, which is really good. They're sassy as heck.
Oh, the Frozen one where it's like let it go because she looks like Elsa.
No, it's the Star Trek commander lady that's from some movie now. I can't remember what her damn name is.
Are you disrespecting Star Trek?
Oh,
I'm going to take issue with that, sir.
I'm not disrespecting Star Trek at all. Captain Janeway.
Yeah, that
is
one.
Mama
Did
Jaina.
you just forget Captain Janeway?
I did, apparently.
Oh my god.
I did. Yeah. But
She survived the Delta Quadrant, dude.
Shut
She got him home. She blew up the Borg and she got him home.
What is up with you? Yeah. But
Blew up the Borg. Could you have simplified it more?
Really?
Do you really want me to go into the intricate relationship that she built up with like 19 or whatever her name was?
So what do you... I guess this is a huge can of worms to open right now, right? So I have this giant chunk. The Battle of Azeroth is coming eventually. I still think like we'll do like release date. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get it until next BlizzCon.
7 of 9, thank you. Yeah, sorry, what?
Next,
I was still Star Trek.
I know you were. Next BlizzCon for 8.0.
We talked about it during the Patreon one as well. My feeling was like we got in May, we have a release date for Gordon's introduction novel. So I was thinking more around that period, but you guys are all about December.
I never said a date. I mean, don't put words in my mouth. I feel like we're looking at a year. I do.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to be close to the year mark.
Yep. I think so too.
Yeah, but it's I'm in two minds of it. One, they either knew that Classic was going to dominate the conversation, and therefore they didn't really need to do much about Battle for Azeroth other than the basics, like the absolute basics. And then they'll do what they did in the lead up to Kata, which Ghostcrawler was really good at, which is they did those huge dev posts about very specific game changes and their intentions for it, what they were going to do. And that's where we learned about like raid book consolidation and all that kind of stuff. They did it in these just monthly dev posts, and the game is actually much closer than we thought. So it's either gone that way. They thought they didn't need to do much with Battle for Azeroth because Classic was going to be everywhere. Or they are actually just miles away, and I feel like they are just miles away because they were super vague, but that might be intentional. I mean, everything they said about Battle for Azeroth was always prefixed with "this might not be exactly how it works."
Right.
This the general idea is here. This is what we think it's going to do. The specifics and stuff, which obviously people like me want to know, is how exactly is this going to work? They were just like, nope, we're not saying anything. Whether that's just a rule again, so people don't go, well, you said this at BlizzCon,
right?
You said this at BlizzCon.
Like we have a board.
Why did you betray us? Why would you do a bay and not tell the truth? Right? So whether that was the idea, there's a number of reasons, but my gut feeling is it's nearly a year away. I think so.
Yep.
Wow.
Because
so painful.
They're very much like the environmental building, like, concrete foundation stage right now. The two dungeons that were playable at BlizzCon that you may have seen streamed by other broadcasters or whatever. Yep. I didn't do them on my stream because I was the first one up there to guinea pig it, so my audio was terrible. So I spent about half my stream trying to fix my stream, and then it crashed. So, but the two dungeons that are done, apparently those are the only two dungeons that are done out of 10. Yeah. So,
well, they were still designing them on the stage. They had that BlizzCon stage where they were designing them.
Correct.
And which dungeons did the show? I assume the one on the Zandalari Island.
Yeah, the Golden City. I forget the exact name of it, but they were nicknamed it the City of Gold, right?
Okay. And the other one was the pirate one, then.
The Freehold, was it?
Was it the pirate one? I thought it was the one that was in like they looked like Shadow Moon Burial Grounds or something. I can't remember because I didn't get to play them because I didn't have time.
I don't know the names, and people get upset.
Yeah, I don't have the names yet. I haven't learned them yet. So I mean, they could change too. Like we had raids changing up until they released in Legion. So yeah, was it Freehold? Okay. But I mean, the game looks, as every expansion, because it's new, like all these screenshots I'm showing off on screen right now, because it's new and the new art, and they keep improving, like their ZBrush integration and the world and the terrain artists, all this kind of stuff always gets better and better and better. So it looks amazing.
Ataldazor is what it's called. Ataldazor. Ataldazar is the City of Gold.
Okay. Might be
They're reusing Hakar Bay. Did you notice that? Like that's
well,
mechanics in there.
I mean,
I think that's cool. They haven't used that mechanic in a long time.
So, yeah, I'm just looking through all this stuff again. There's the Shikaka Chris Metzen head on the playable demo. Shikaka. But that actually, some people didn't know that the Shikaka bubble came out of Chris's head because they didn't see because people were in front of them, like when they were sitting on the platforms. They didn't know this until they saw these on MMO-Champion that it was a Photoshop of Chris Metzen saying it, but because bat people.
I could see that.
Troll blood bat people. Yeah. But it looks... Overall, I always get blown away by like their presentation and what they're doing. I think the big thing that I wanted to bring up right off the bat, which will tie right into Nobbel stuff, and we did cinematic as whatever, is that faction warfare all of a sudden. I know Nobbel knows more about this and wants to like get this out there to quell, because every other expansion it seems like we're either like we hate each other or we're at a truce because we got to fight off the Legion or the Void or the this and that other thing, and we keep going back and forth and waffling, and people get like confused about like the whole Horde versus Alliance at the core of it, and that things get stacked on top of it. And then once you kind of remove all those Jenga blocks, then you're back to Horde versus Alliance. So, like, what do you think is going to happen with the expansion, and how this will feel as a transition from like defeating the Legion into Red versus Blue again, basically?
Well, the transition from Legion, like in Legion, we had somewhat of a build-up of a conflict in Stormheim with the Sylvanas Greymane story arc, where they go after each other. Sylvanas is after Aegir, Greymane is after Sylvanas, partially for what happened at the Broken Shore, where the Horde, in my opinion, was forced to leave behind the Alliance, but the Alliance apparently doesn't see it that way. They see it as betrayed. And of course, what she did with his son and Gilneas and all that stuff. So they go after each other, where in the conclusion, Greymane takes away her future and stops Sylvanas from enslaving Aegir. And from that point on, we pretty much didn't get any story developments for the faction war besides go and take a tower because this is apparently very important to have. I think partially, that's really what happened. Yeah. I think partially that happened because storyline was cut out of the expansion. If you go to the Legion website, you can actually see the Sylvanas description, and apparently she was forced to make a choice between damnation and her people. But that storyline never made it in. So I kind of got a feeling that they were planning to do more, to build up a little bit more into the faction war, but that didn't happen. So the rest of the Legion, what happens is we, as characters, take charge of our classes. Both factions pretty much work together. Like you got Horde and Alliance of the Paladins, of the Druids, of the Shamans, whatever. They work together. They follow some key characters, and they go into Argus, and they stop everybody. But apparently all that time, the faction war has been brewing between the Alliance and the Hordes, which then flows into that novel by Chrissy Golden.
Yeah.
And the novel, all we got really from BlizzCon was a very small teaser with not a lot of details known. We know that there is a new organization formed in Undercity. And apparently that organization does not agree with what the Banshee Queen wants, does not agree with going on forever, but we don't really know what they do want. Apparently Sylvanas has the idea, together with the Nafanos, that there is a battle in Stormwind where both of them are really looking forward to. So they want to attack Stormwind, apparently, but we don't really know why. I think the most obvious answer is they can find Greymane in Stormwind, and both of them have a lot of beef with Greymane since what happened in Stormheim. But again, we don't really know for certain. And then we have the preview art from BlizzCon itself, where we can see Sylvanas and presumably Nafanos and Sorfang go up to Teldrassil before it's burning. And there is an elf sitting next to it with 3 arrows in the back. My guess is that's going to be Varisa, her sister. But again, that's purely speculation. And the second frame is Sylvanas watching the tree burn, together with that elf that is now chilling on her side and watching with her. That event happens before the attack at Lordaeron.
Right.
But we don't know the details as to why this tree is going to burn. We don't know the details as to why the Horde would want to destroy it. It could straight up be a bombing of Fedamore where they were just there to take land. It could be a setup from Greymane. It could be a setup from the Old Gods. It could be a setup from that new organization. The sky's the limit pretty much with how it's going to go down, and that is also why a lot of people, myself included, are really looking forward to that Christy Golden novel. And yeah, that's how the faction war is going to start. Then the expansion itself starts, where we're going to jump in at the end of the cinematic. So we're going to join either Team Horde or Team Alliance. And we also know who's going to win that battle. And from there on, we're going to get new allies in this war. We're going to fight with each other. And what most speculate is that the story is eventually going to flow back into the Old Gods storyline, because we know from the Old Gods, they are the ones who have the most to gain from a faction war.
Yep.
They feed on strife and conflict, and of course all the hints that we got during Legion, which suggest an Old God expansion. And that's pretty much what we know about the faction war right now.
Yeah, it seems because like the Heroes of Azeroth panel that Alex was bringing up here about like the characters that are like the forefront, and they did this with Legion too, like the forefront characters that we'll see. And like the joke about Vol'jin obviously was Thrall and Sylvanas on the Horde side, and then Anduin and Jaina on the Alliance side. So we'll have to wait and see. It looks like it's gonna be a very story focused beginning. That's how Legion felt too, right? And then they branched out with like the story over here, a story over here, a story over here, and then they only like focused on like, okay, we're just doing Legion now, just like demons, that's it. So those other ones sort of like became breadcrumbs now, and they're gonna bring those back in. Yeah. Hopefully. We'll have to wait and see, because it's a weird like year out where they haven't pulled like a Warlords of Draenor where they were like, yeah, you know, Black Hands, it was Miss Pandaria, where they were just like, Garrosh is the final boss. And we were like, oh. So like his story started developing, people were like, he's becoming the final boss now, and we knew, right? It spoiled it for us. But now, right now, for like tier 1 of Battle for Azeroth, it's just red versus blue, it's Horde versus Alliance. And where it goes from there will be...
Yeah, we know we've got a troll raid coming, don't we?
We do?
Yeah, troll raid is coming. We know that we're going to go into Zandalar, into us. We're going to get those allied races. And we know that the Azora is looming on the horizon. And that's pretty much all we know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Old God stuff's going to start at pretty much at the beginning, because we're going into what they call it, like a quarantine facility for the Titans is the first raid. The trolls are down there, and they're definitely doing some Old God voodoo stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, apparently that Old God influence is responsible for the corruption of Zandalar itself, and we got to go in. It's such a threat that both sides actually have to go in there and take care
I think it'll be compared to Ulduar. It's hard not to think of it that way, right?
Yeah, it's Uldir, the Halls of Control, 8 bosses, Titan quarantine
that's a
facility.
brave start, man. It's a brave start.
It is.
It is.
Face off against the source of Zandalar's corruption.
Which apparently has something to do with the Old Gods, There's also some a blood god, I think, that they mentioned, but it wasn't Hakar. It was another name that they dropped for the blood god, which I found interesting.
Hakar's mechanics is what I was talking about earlier. There's a boss with Hakar's mechanics.
Yeah. But a lot of people are like, we're gonna deal with the trolls, but where's Hakar though? The Hakar, but apparently it's a new one.
Yeah, there was just one picture that Ian posted. It's concept art from like the inside of it, which it looks like very trolled out, and then I guess they built that on top of this Titan facility. So yeah.
So that's gonna be the Old God stuff. That's when that's gonna kick off.
But yeah, I didn't realize they were gonna put this key art up. I have it on screen right now, the Azara key art, because they were just like, oh, and then Azara.
Well, I think they needed a big bad somewhere.
Right.
I mean, I don't know much about it. Cool.
Do you want a quick rundown?
I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who doesn't really about it.
Do you remember with the Nightborn when they did the whole cinematic where you saw like this elf waving her hand over the green well, and then the land split apart?
No.
Well, there was a cinematic like that, which is the Sundering, which is the reason why the world is no longer connected. It's split apart. Azora was basically the one who brought the Legion into Azeroth the very first time with her people. That all fell apart when the Night Elves started fighting back. The land split apart, and she was dragged into the ocean. And then the Old Gods started to whisper to her, like, we can save you, we can make you better, and in exchange, you're going to serve us. And they transformed her and her people into the Naga as we know them today.
Yep.
And since then, the Naga have played a part. She even shows up in Darkshore with a completely different model. And she's very much connected to N'Zoth. So that's why a lot of people are like, N'Zoth are on the way. And that's Azora in a nutshell.
Okay.
Yeah, there was...
I mean, I'm not, she's not my Deathwing or something like that, or my Lich King or something. But,
well...
I don't know what kind of reaction they got live when they said Azora was there. I know for me, it was like, okay.
Well, it was also a little bit of an afterthought that they dropped her. Like, not a lot of details were given, only that Kaltras was dealing with threats from the sea.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got.
Yeah, there was this is like a self-plug here. I had to pull this up to make sure I found it. So if you didn't, there's actually one question I had in my in my Q&A that I brought this up because of the Azara hit. There's a bunch of recaps about MMO-Champion's front page from the different interviews. There's a whole bunch of them, but the keynote that I got here was that I asked Alex about the story build-up and like the tiers, if they're going to do 3 tiers again or whatnot, and they didn't confirm that, but they said the story will definitely build up to a major threat. It will be a slow burn that escalates as the expansion progresses. And of course, you can hear Alex say that in my interview over on my channel, but that was what his wording was. So what I put down here in the notes was that we have like Red versus Blue, Horde versus Alliance, and then we have like the Old God, like we'll find like the Titan stuff, Queen Azara, and then that will lead right into the Void, which could be the next expansion now, because we thought this one was going to be all about Void. But it looks like they have a slow burn.
There were so many leaks, though, that were close, right?
There was, yeah.
I mean, they were almost so close.
Yeah.
None of them quite got it.
But it could be Void. It could also be Azeroth itself. That becomes a threat. Battle for Azeroth itself becoming a threat. But then again, we also did the whole, not yet though, spoilers, but it's kind of a repeat. So yeah, not going to go in there because I know Preach doesn't want to hear what happens in the next raid, so we're not going to go there. But yeah, it's definitely interesting, especially since we have the whole Magni quest line with Azerite and a necklace. Some suggest that we are going to collect the blood of Azeroth to heal her, to help her, to do something with that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting storyline. But right now, like, the sky's the limit. Speculation is running rampant, which is often the most fun time to be around, because everybody's like, well, this could happen, and that could happen, and this could happen. And then the disappointment comes in.
Well, I was actually thinking yesterday, we had so many, I mean, I had so many lofty ideas they could do, because I was, if they're going to do Red versus Blue again, they can't do it like where we very quickly didn't care, and they need to do something to create some sort of adversity to unite us. And I actually thought they might be taking baby steps with it, and it could actually be very clever. Is they kind of touched on that there's no PvP realms anymore, and you're going to be able to toggle it on and off, and also they're going to incentivize it in some way, and that little thing might be enough to actually get it rolling, because we know we can't go. We're going to, when we cap, we're going to be going to the other islands. We know that, right? Yep. So they might be incentivizing raiding parties to go to the other side and actually engage with Alliance and Horde, certainly if they can get the phasing technologies to kind of balance the areas. I think that might be enough to actually inspire people to care about being Horde or Alliance again. And if that works, they might be playing that. It could be the payoff they're after. Is even the most hardened PvE players, if they think they're going to win, so they come across, they come over a hill or whatever to do a quest, and they see there's PvP going on, but clearly their faction's going to win. Even the most hardened guys tend to turn it on so they can join in a little bit. I mean, we all attacked some high-level guy when we were low-level, right? If we thought we were going to win. And that might be enough to do it. So I was thinking about last night, because I was talking about, restrictions between the islands and stuff like that. But I think trying to optionally incentivize people to get involved with PvP again might just be enough to actually keep the fire going with Red versus Blue and actually make it a thing, because they struggle to do that every time, is to make it care.
Yeah,
I think that might be enough. Like, the system, the way I understand it, is that in your capital you need to make the decision to go PvE or PvP, and then you'll phase into the realm.
Any city you can toggle on to PvP, and then you're just PvP flagged, and then you'll basically shard in to a PvP server or PvP shards or whatever it is.
But do you think that's gonna be a problem to get people into the battle? For example, I'm in Zandalar, see people fighting with each other, then I first have got to port back to Kaltaras, turn it on, and port back in. And will I even see these people fighting because I'm not flagged to go into the PvP realm?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking that it might become, it depends on what the incentives are, right? Because Ian mentioned it, like, we're going to incentivize it in some way because they want people to do this, and I think this is why they're going to try and get the Red versus Blue thing to go. Is they might incentivize it for you to make a group to go to the other islands and engage in PvP in some way, and there's a reason to be doing that. I mean, Azerite's the overall reward, right? So whether it's just gaining island maps or something like that, you're incentivized to go and raid the other islands in some way, and also show that there's good rewards for doing that, and other people putting groups together to do that. I'm just thinking, because everybody has the option to do it, it could be an easy way of giving people an optional way to actually care about Red versus Blue.
Right.
And I want people to care about it because that's what this expansion is kind of kicking off with. And maybe the Void God stuff is also going to run alongside in case it doesn't work, because we know it hasn't worked in the past when they've tried to do it, because people didn't care. So they need to give people a reason to care about. And that could work. It could work. And it could be a nice, simple way of doing it that's optional, get involved, it's worthwhile, things like that. So I was just thinking that could be a nice, gentle way of getting it in there.
It's definitely going to depend on the rewards. From my perspective, if I'm leveling, I play on a PvE realm with a reason. I used to play in a PvP realm, and I hated being ganked. I hated constantly fighting with each other. So the rewards have to be very good for me to actually turn it on. And like Chatroom was telling me that if you don't have PvP toggled on, you won't even see people fighting. So I wonder if that's going to conflict, because you won't even see a battle going on. Before
if word spreads, people might be incentivized to go and do it. Like I say, the rewards will be a big thing to get people to do it. But again, it's getting ganked. Like you just said, people don't like being ganked. They don't like that. Yeah. But people like PvP when you're winning. Most people do. Like if there's a good chance of you winning, and putting together a little team to go and do some PvP, and optionally turn it on, that might be enough to go and do it.
Right.
It's because if you've already got a group together to do it, you kind of feel strong, you kind of feel powerful. We're going to go find some people to do this, and we're going to get a decent reward out of it. I mean, my overall thought process is I don't want the RVB side of it to die a slow, sad death that never got off the ground. And I'm struggling to find how they're going to make us care, because the features they've released so far don't show that. But it's got to be important. We have to care, and that could be how they do it, is what I was thinking.
That side of the game and making us have that tie to our alliance or the Horde side, and to bring that in is not only just the world PvP changes, which open up possibilities for an easy use of all the other world PvP areas in the game that may or may not be seen, but also like island plundering has the PvP mode as well, because they're only giving the PvP community one battleground, but also all the islands are essentially a 3v3 arena now. Because they're PvEVP, so that could be a thing with you. And they don't know about Warfronts being PvP yet. I had that unconfirmed in my interview, but at least at the start of it, it's PvE only, and then it could be patched in later on as it goes along. But that was what I wanted to transition to real quick, is that this is the first expansion, and there's chat about like how hopefully it's not a gap fill expansion. Hopefully it actually keeps up with this. This is Ian Hazacostas' swan song, because he was not where he was when Legion was being built. Like, he is now the game director for 8.0. This is his baby. And the 77-day thing is super real. The content production cycle they're running on right now with Team 2 is massive. Like, it's not going to be this lowered tier of an expansion. So look at it this way. We've had Dungeons for forever. We had Mythic Plus sort of become from challenge mode to Mythic Plus last expansion to now. But then we have two brand new systems. This is more like what you and I talk about as Nobbel goes to the restroom real quick. We have Island Plundering, which is kind of like Strikes from Destiny 2, because like the repeatable, like the same feel. And then Warfronts. Two completely new systems to the game. Completely new systems.
And they look really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm curious to... Well, because Warfronts were like, this is a Warfront. It's kind of like Warcraft 2 in WoW. Next slide. So, they don't know yet. Obviously, islands are way more along. And I talked to some of the devs that worked on the like difficulty scaling and the NPC element that comes in. Even if you're doing PvE islands, you still have the Horde or the Alliance like triple man team that'll come and like mess your stuff up. And they apparently undersold Sneaky Pete, at least from like a mythic difficulty standpoint, where in their internal game testing, Sneaky Pete was wiping groups.
Well, this is what I was saying in our show, is like they are so proud of what they've done.
Right.
That came through like a rainbow. They were so proud of what they've done with this advanced AI. And it will make or break the island system, because if the island system doesn't have a really interesting dynamic element, because it's dynamic, like procedural generation was mentioned, that it will all be different. But ultimately, if you've got a decent group, that's not going to mean a hell of a lot. We're just going to eat through it. And it's the AI that's going to make or break the system. And they were very proud. And they want you to get to know who you're facing. They want you to know Sneaky Pete. and be afraid of Sneaky Pete. And they gave the factions names, like the Wolf Pack was the other one.
Yeah.
Like, we're facing the Wolf Pack, and they want you to think, oh God, you know, Sneaky Pete's around, keep your eyes open. It feels to me like they were super proud of what they've come up with, and it will be what make or breaks that system, so it doesn't turn into Mists of Pandaria scenarios again. And you just be like, this is so boring.
Right.
Oh my God. Right? Because just going to an island, getting loot, and going home is going to get old real quick. And if the faction champions can just be eliminated and just move on, it's not going to be an interesting part of it. So if I feel like they know what they wanted, and they could probably maybe even Mythic Plus this system, right? If the gear's a thing, because it's role agnostic, so gear's got to be a factor very quickly. So if they even Mythic Plus it up a little bit, we could be in for some really fun 3-man content that you can do role agnostic, which is important because you can just get some deeps together and just go and have some fun. It's the thing I'm most excited for is the islands, because I can tell when they are happy with what they've done, and traditionally that means it's a really good system. So the islands is something I'm very, very happy to see coming, and I could just tell they're happy with what they've made, and that makes me excited for it.
Nobbel,
rather than scenarios.
As Nobbel's camera actually explodes.
I'm broken.
You are.
Can I fix it without messing up the stream?
I mean, turn it off, turn it back on again, I guess. Yeah.
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 I'm gonna see if that fixes anything. I'm broken now. I go to the toilet for 2 seconds and it all goes to hell.
You
See? Sneaky Pete strikes again.
Yeah, Sneaky Pete in real life. So that's chat brought up too, and this is a sore spot, at least to some degree, for you and I, Mike, because we did these in Warlords, the garrison invasions and the meddling system, and then like the garrison invasion bosses that you used to do.
Yeah.
But again, I have said on the show many times, Blizzard sort of like leapfrogs every other expansion with past systems and sort of really amalgamates and puts them together really well. So look at how scenarios from MOP and then garrison invasions from Warlords basically have become island expeditions. But if
I'm dead against them killing systems because the first version wasn't good.
Of course.
Like, I mean, just to say, oh, we're never having garrisons again because they didn't work the first time is not the way Blizzard would approach content ever. I don't think so. They would go, we can do better. Let's do it better. I mean, boats are coming back. That is bold. Because as soon as they said that, everyone went, oh, no. The shipyard, do we need oil?
Well, we don't have our own boats, but there are boats.
No, we don't have our own boats.
Just to clarify, we don't have our own boats.
Bants will not sail these seas.
Yeah.
Do you think these scenarios will have any actual difficulty, by the way? Because they mentioned that you can do pretty much any class composition.
Well, it's their normal heroic and mythic. And they have the either PvP or PvE aspects of the other factions, like 3-man squad, coming to mess you up. They're also timed in different ways, or different scenarios print themselves. What chat brought up, which you're getting at, is the base scenario has to be fun and alternate enough goals to make it so that you want to actually jump in and jump out. Kind of like when, if you're playing Destiny 2, like a lot of us are right now, like I am, jumping into strikes with your friends and just like shooting things because the gameplay loop is good and like the randomization of it, like of the mobs or the positioning or the little goals or milestones is enough. But if these scenarios after a month are just like scenarios in MOP when you're just like asleep the whole time, that would be really bad. So hopefully not.
Yeah, I mean, that was me after the first one. The first, I mean, I actually went back and watched my MOP scenario video when I did the video on the islands. And the first time through, it's amazing. It's so fun because you don't know what's happening. They set up these really interesting scenarios within the scenarios that were really interesting and really good. And then the second time through, it was just so dull. Yeah. Like literally the second time you did it, you're like, oh, God, you got to wait. And then you got to wait for the waves.
For me, it was like pretty much prime content because I imagine with MOP you were all raiding and whatnot. For me, scenarios were like the main thing to do, like get achievements, get faster at them. The rewards at some point became insane to actually do in a scenario because they wanted to give a reason to actually go in there. And I
think that was a counter to what you were saying.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's going to be a similar thing as what they're going to do with Scenarios Plus, with the whole island situation. Because again, it needs to be viable for all classes, right? Or are they going to say only normal is viable for any team composition and the high difficulties are not?
Yeah, I mean, role agnostic has problems when you get harder and harder. Yeah. Especially if you've got a very strong tank that can also self-heal and do decent DPS. Like, that's when things start getting iffy. And again, it's going to be the faction champions that make or break the system.
Yep.
Because other than that, we're going to steamroll them. If these guys can be steamrolled relatively early, let's say we turbo nerd gearing, like we tend to do, and very quickly Mythic doesn't mean anything to us, which is what happens with dungeons, right? Until the Mythic Plus was in the game, Mythic meant nothing very quickly. So I'm really excited for them, and I hope that they have found a way to make them engaging and different all the time. Because I don't want to see, when they say it's like procedure generated and stuff, I don't want that to mean there's like 8 variants. Right? That's not what I would want to see. I don't want to do it like a few times and like, oh, okay, well, I have seen this before now, rinse and repeat. Like a world quest type situation where you're like, okay, I've kind of done this before. And it is the faction champions that are going to make the difference. So I'm really excited for them. And again, the main reason isn't anything they said, it was how they said it. It was how they came across as like, this is cool, and we know it's cool. So that's one thing I'm still that's the main reason I'm hyped for that system.
Okay, I go back and quote you on this multiple times about what you're hoping that Blizzard does, and the last 2 expansions had a little bit of this, but until Legion, when you started talking about this a lot, Mike, is when you said like you missed Blizzard taking risks or chances.
Yeah, TBC video, I said that.
Yeah, so
it was very clear they didn't do that. Yeah,
we'll have to wait and see, because these are 2 totally different systems completely in the game. And as I move us on to another part that Nobbel may or may not have much to input on this, I just like a footnote, because of the Heart of Azeroth, and you listen to the keynote of this, right? And the way that the Azurite gear works, we kind of have a little bit of a BIS list coming back. It's happening.
Yep, you can target what you're after. That's important. It is for me anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the time logic's still there, of course, but
yeah, but when you have your Azurite helm, shoulders, and chest, nothing else beats the helm, shoulders, and chest unless you get higher eye level or sets or whatever. So like that's it is. And now we have a little bit of a relief, because we've been in this world so far where we just don't have that, and it obviously shown that the community doesn't like the no BIS list mentality. So that's good. But
you're still gonna get Titan Force and all that, right? Except not on the Biz gear,
but
on the Azurite gear.
Azurite gear will not Titan Forge, which we wonder now, because chest, helm, and shoulders, at least those 3 pieces, are also set, will also not Titan Forge. And I think as they will expand the expansion forward, I imagine their way of like adding more legendaries to the game like they did in Legion, or like adding the new legendary in the next raid, other pieces of gear as the expansion rolls forward again will become Azurite. So you may eventually, you know, toward the end of 8.0, you'll have 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces that are Azurite gear that have the new Relic 2.0 system, which is like the talents you unlock based on your Heart of Azeroth level. So
not confirmed, right?
That's not confirmed. That's speculation.
Okay.
We just know there's 3 pieces right now, but they can always add more to the game, because this is how you customize your character, because the relics are gone and whatnot, right? You customize them.
We have had it confirmed. Tier sets are not going away.
Yeah, tier sets are not going away. No,
yeah, tier sets are not going away.
Yeah, they're still here.
Yeah, I just saw in the chat people thought that they confirmed that they were going away. No, they're not. They're staying.
But if
the legendaries aren't going away either, they said the legendary system is changing.
Yes,
they're not doing the same system. That does not mean there are no legends.
Yep.
Bring back legendary quest, please.
And how are they going to remove?
Go away.
Yes. Bring me back into the battlegrounds. Let me do 2 matches.
Drop.
Yeah.
Cool ones with a random drop.
Randomness. Boo.
Well, I actually like basic. They're not taking risks. I actually don't think they've taken risks with anything they've far. I think this is the safest announcement I've seen so far. I don't know if you saw, but I did a sort of study a little bit on RNG and how it affected the casual player base recently, and they've been massively. Yeah, the time forging things. I was making a rant video because how it affects me, and in researching it, I was like, "Oh God, it's actually killing the casual players' results." Whether or not they care or not is irrelevant. It is actually happening, and I think everything here, like reducing Titan forging systems and having Azurite and stuff, is them countering all the RNG from Legion. I think it's a very safe solution to a problem they've got themselves in Legion.
To a little bit of it, to enough of it. Because if you imagine your necklace, you'll never replace. Your helm, shoulders, and chest, once you get Azurite gear, you never replace them until you get better Azurite gear. And we are going back to regular weapons, because we don't have artifact weapons anymore. That'll be like that kind of offsets the balance of gearing, I guess, to a degree. But at least there's small motions towards sort of fixing the obvious huge that happened in Legion with everything is super random.
Yeah, and I think it hurt. Well, I know it did. It hurt way more people than it was ever. I don't think they intended it. I actually thought they a lot of players out, and it just backfired completely.
Yep.
And just ended in a nightmare scenario for them, which is, I mean, we're getting that new buff in on Taurus, but it's pretty weak compared to what we've already got.
So yeah, we have
new buff is that?
The new trinkets.
The new trinket system. The Path of the Titans trinkets, essentially. Yes.
I mean, it only works in Antaurus. It's not as powerful as Concordance, right? It's pretty weak.
Well, the trinkets themselves are awesome for almost every spec, but the ring proc is weak. Yeah, because it's a tuning
those static stats. They're not random at all, are they? What's it called? You know, the stupid trinket, the Arcana Crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Arcana Crystal. So yeah, I think so far everything is super safe. Super safe. I haven't seen a risk yet.
Yeah.
I mean, Warfronts seem safe to me as well.
Warfronts, all we have is this one slide about them too, and I just hope that they really improve upon these, because it's one of those subsystems that you go like, this could be fun, or you'll do it once and be like, this is really boring and sucks.
Yep.
Comes down
I don't
to
think that'll
again,
happen,
right?
but my issue with it is how rewarding is it going to be? 20 Typically,
man.
that has really good rewards. For investing, getting that many people together and stuff. I mean, it's obviously going to be queuable, but we can organize groups to do this. I actually love the idea that there's an alternative to raiding that you can go and do together. I love that, because traditionally guilds are like, what are we going to do tonight? We have a raid, or we kind of put an RBG together or something like that. Now we have a third option. That's fantastic.
Well, it's like, I would even put, like, if islands work and their loot Pinata is worth it, and Warfronts, and of course, like, the Mythic Plus system for lower, whatever they do with Mythic Plus 2.0, right? Because we didn't talk about that at all. It's obviously there. Are we getting new affixes? Is the keystone
Well, they just said
changing?
it's working fine. I mean, that was basically what I got, is like Mythic Plus is fine.
Yeah.
So it's staying. We'll make some tweaks to it. But they did say that all the new dungeons are designed more with Mythic Plus in mind than anything else.
Right.
They're not designing the dungeons around normal, or heroic, or base Mythic. It's about M+.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. So the uptake must actually be way higher. I know I have a lot of viewers who don't do any Mythic Plus. Like, they see it as really hardcore content still. But I think the overall uptake is massive on Mythic Plus. So they're just kind of like keeping it as it is. It works. Let's not mess around with it too much.
And we
For
also
someone
have,
like me, it's the best system they've added to the game in quite a while.
Yeah,
agreed.
You dabble,
But it took a while for me to get into as well, because, like, for me, it's the luxury I play on stream, so I always have people who are willing to tank or DPS or heal. But I can understand from a casual perspective, to get into a group, it's not easy. So you need to have a group of people that you play with.
Yeah, I have a whole series where I do it.
Yeah.
I have an entire series where I mean, I think the third video I made in that series was like, why do you guys do this to yourselves? Get a guild, please. This is horrible. This is horrible. But yeah, Mythic Plus is fine. Let's leave it there. And all these different choices of content we're going to be able to do is just fun. I'm into just choice. What are we going to do today? And, it's at the moment, it's Mythic Plus or raid, really. Let's say from a streamer's perspective, what are we going to do today? Farm AP, do this. And now we can go, should we do some Warfronts? Should we go and do some islands together? We got all these different things that I just can't wait for, because they look really fun. And they look like we can organize them and get teams together and get some strategy going, which is always rewarding for me and for most of my viewers, is
be
when you do it well.
It's going to be interesting gameplay as well, because the feeling I got from it was like brochure. Choose what tower you want to upgrade and then go from there.
Yeah.
But then it kind of got like an Ashran feeling from it, as in factions on an island fighting with each other. It's going to be interesting to see. No. It's against AI. I got that part.
A lot of people didn't, for some reason. They all thought it was PvP.
Yeah, maybe they confused it with the island scenario where they heard like B setting.
I think it looks like a BG. That's the thing. It looks like
exactly.
if you just look at the screenshots, you just think it was the new BG. But it's not. And I think it's going to be really fun, especially if we get organized and they have decent difficulty options for it. So if you do get an organized group together, it's fun, and it's not just like a Tolbarad boss, because the puggable stuff is fine, but it's not engaging. You expect to kill it instead of working towards doing something. So I'm tentative on it. Because I don't think they mentioned difficulty options for Warfronts, did they? It was a thing.
Not that I
It's
recall.
a thing.
No.
And Warfronts
Yeah,
are
it's a
also currently penned to not be a constant thing. Almost like
yeah, I
they're
wasn't
like,
sure. I couldn't find a source as to how often it's. Why I was talking that if we get an org, they do tie good rewards to it. Can we farm it? Or what do they think? Is it once
Yeah,
a
I
week
know.
or what?
like a weekly lockout or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, is it like a VOA Tolbarad situation or?
Discord's all starting to be a little choppy, so if it keeps up, we'll restart the call. I wanted to draw attention.
It's cutting out from time to time for me as well. Yeah,
I want to.
I am
a little bit. It wasn't you. It's
but
just
that's Discord.
It's just bandwidth. Yeah. So there's actually, I saw it in chat. It scrolled by kind of quickly, but there is actually one of the new interview brackets that MMO-Champion is highlighting. There was the WoW Chakra interview went up. Again, these are all on the front page of MMO-Champion, right? Like there's the Fat Bros have a video out right now. But this is interesting. This is interesting. The WoW Chakra actually got with Shawnee and Ray, two of the devs on the team, said that the team is hoping to start beta for Battle for Azeroth early next year, early 2018, and the goal is to have Battle for Azeroth launch before the end of 2018. So if you wanted some soft confirmations,
and they call it a goal as well. Oh my god!
Told you.
Good.
Told
yeah,
you, man.
the goal.
I mean, how long was our Legion? We got in the alpha, right? All of us.
I
had it for 7 months.
7 months.
Yeah,
I have the timeline because you can go back to my channel guide where I have all my stuff chronicled. It was like December to June. It was 7 months. Yeah, it was a long time. So if that starts early next year, then it'll still be what 4 to 6 months of beta before we get the expansion. So we'll see.
I hope they got some content planned in between, man. Oh, I really hope so.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
I think they're just kind of gonna ride the hype wave a bit to the end.
Well, no, they have the Silithus whatever, which will be something. They have the raid coming out, and we don't know if they have like a 7.4 plan, which will have. I mean, 7.4 will come out. It'll have the item squish, the eye level squish, the power squish, the system changes. I don't know if they're gonna remove our artifacts by then. It won't be because the artifacts will probably go away, like our first quest into Battle for Azeroth or whatever they do.
Well, there's some debate over that, isn't there, Nobbel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying. But I think they could do a lot of story stuff. I don't expect a mini raid, Halion or something like that. I think they might do some staggered storytelling, like Suramar style.
Could be.
I mean, the Silithus scenario has been suggested as an in-between content, like a little scenario explaining what's going on in that area, tied in with what's going to be in the book.
Yep.
But yeah, it's still going to be a long wait though, because any massive content, I don't know.
I'm okay with it, honestly. Legion has been exhausting for me.
A little bit.
I am fine with it. I know that's not nice to hear, but for me personally, I'm totally okay with it.
Preacher, the best change that they've talked about at all of BlizzCon, and you said it on your web show, and I was like, my man, is that...
Communities?
No, the Azerite is automatically picked up.
Oh, thank God.
Oh,
sweet. Yeah, this... Oh.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that I have pretty empty bags.
Sure.
And I still don't have enough space for all the AP I can get in a day without having to stop and clear it out and keep going and stick. I mean, I have an add-on installed to make it so I only have to press one button. There's so much AP I have to consume on my main character that I need an add-on to use it. So I don't have to bother clicking through my bags. I just sit there just like this.
Yeah.
Just spamming a button. Oh, thank God, it's just automatic.
I know. That's one of like the biggest, like, oh, thank you.
Oh, can't wait. Yeah.
How are you guys predicting, by the way, for Azeroth, now that we're talking about it, for alt collecting? Because the way I understood it is that the necklace goes for all your specs. So they removed the problem of having to split it around.
Yep.
Do you expect it
should no longer be a problem?
Exactly. Do you expect it to still be a barrier for playing alts, especially at the start? Like Legion had the problem at the start where artifact power was not that easy obtainable, and right now it's very good. What do you expect
relative,
for next
remember? It's all relative. Like, I mean, if you were pushing hard early on, then you were always going to start hitting the walls, which we did. But it's all relative. Like, I mean, at this point, I think someone worked out that even if you just did the emissary quests, you were going to hit 75 by the time Taurus comes because the AK is getting so high. For me, the fact that it works for all three specs instantly makes it more alt accessible, because if there are a few people who only play one spec, right? But the fact that it just all works for the one spec means that you should be able to find way more time to play alts for the most part. If you've got the kind of time to play alts, you should be. I think so anyway. I think that's enough to alleviate or lift that pressure. Especially if you're like a healer and you need a DPS spec, or you're a tank and you want your DPS spec to be decent and get your AP up. You're not going to be doing any of that in Battle for Azeroth, which is great. I like it.
We have some questions that were submitted that I'll bounce back and forth between, because we're at about 2 hours now. So I want to get to some viewer questions and make sure we get chat. Yeah, I know.
Man. Let's go all night.
So I'll give one to Nobbel first. It was asked in chat a couple of times as it scrolls by, but it was also put in my Discord. Is that what other allied races are you hoping get added to the game, since they confirmed they're going to add more?
I don't really have any ones that I'm like, oh yeah, bring it. For me, Murlocs has always been a fun idea for a race, just because they're Murlocs.
Never gonna happen, dude.
I can dream though.
They might happen. I don't know. I just thought I'd ruin your dreams.
Don't let my dreams be dreams, damn it. No, but I really have
free. Fly, little bird, fly.
Maybe like the bug races, like the Nerubians, the Karaji, and the Mentis. The Klexi. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Get like Team Guard in your crew. That would be amazing. Yeah, I'd be down for that. Go into underground caverns, see like the whole bug system going on, and as a racial, you'll get instant teleportation anywhere you want to go in the world. Anywhere they have tunnels going on. Yes.
Racial's a spit that slows down. Easy game.
But yeah, I'll go with that. That'd be cool though. Like the Manta did say, like we'll see each other again someday. Nerubians are pretty down with us now. Akir, yeah, I'd be down for that.
I think subraces is going to be the biggest thing they do. Like I wasn't lying. The game is so heavily sided now to cosmetics over gear and gameplay. I think the shift is now official. It's all because the people who care about cosmetics vastly outweigh the people who really care about the gameplays for the most part, which is a strange thing, but I see that happening everywhere.
I don't really have much to say on it. I don't know.
I feel that's happening. It's like, I mean, you can't call them sub races, can we? Allied races. The allied races thing is like the biggest thing anyone's cared about for Battle for Azeroth than anything else. That's what it's about. And I think they will, especially if the people are going to pay for race changes a lot. It's free money basically. So it's like a loot box system.
Yeah, there's a lot of like when we unlock them, or if we're going to unlock any before the end of this expansion, like as a content drop, because we know they've confirmed that the 7.3.5 patch brings the world change to leveling, like the zone bracketing, make the whole leveling experience better, kind of a deal. But that's coming. So are we gonna have like Nightborn for the Horde unlocked and High Mountain Tauren for the Horde unlocked, and then like because there's two on each side, like Lightforged Draenei and Void Elves that could totally be unlocked now, and same thing for High Mountain Tauren and
there's nothing stopping the dark item from being unlocked right now.
Maybe, but they might use like one of them each to be like the ones you unlock after the new expansion, because we need the Moira story to happen. That could be patched in. Maybe all the allied races will happen before as like the little content drought saver, because you could level your allied races up before Battle for Azeroth comes out.
Yeah, but the problem is it would conflict with the storytelling. Like I imagine that Lordaeron and Lordaeron. Now I know that Lordaeron is going to be the scenario where we're going to jump in with the new expansion,
right? And
the reason we recruit these allied races is for the faction war. So then you had to imagine that you recruit them for the faction war that isn't in the game.
Yeah. I don't see that happening until the expansion's out.
So here's a contentious question for you, Mike. Are you ready?
Always.
I mean, I think you already answered this, but just like to capstone this, what do you think is the largest hurdle, largest hurdle that they'll have for Classic WoW?
Largest hurdle in terms of design, or what players are going to
implementing the game, I guess, like, period. Getting it out to us, I suppose. Like, what do you think the biggest hurdle that they're going to have to overcome will be?
I have no idea. I mean, it's kind of like my answer before is like, I don't really care what their hurdles are to do it. They've announced they're doing it. They're going ahead with it. The hurdles are many when it actually is out, depending on what they release. I mean, they're huge. They're really scarily huge. Yeah, unless you were there and I mean, I've studied this a lot for the Legacy series, obviously. So I've had to go back in deep into vanilla, and sometimes you remember something that you never gave a thought to, and you're just like, oh god, that was awful. It was really bad. But I agree, there were some great things there, and I'm looking forward to playing it. But in terms of implementing it, I don't know. I hope it's built into the subsystem. I hope it's not an extra cost. I think it will serve that. Like right now, let's say we had Classic now, and Antorus is going to be, and Argus is going to be like a year long. That's probably where you're going to go play some Classic, and you might retain your sub count for a bit longer. So I think that's what they're going to use. You know, this is like the ideal that's about to happen. But it's going to be a really fun and interesting time when that thing releases. Depending on what they release, the forums are going to be hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Because I don't think most people will get past level 20. Honestly, I'll randomly start a thing that 80% of the people who try Classic will not get past level 20, because it'll just be once they get to that point where they're having to stop and eat after each mob and getting killed if they pull a couple of mobs, because you know they're all going to try warriors. And I gotta tell you, as somebody who did the vanilla leveling of warrior, good luck.
Yep.
Good luck.
It was bad until you got like your whirlwind class quest axe at like 35 or something. 32, somewhere in there. See, I even remember.
Like that.
Yeah. And then you chunked things up until about 50, and then you ran Scarlet Monastery to get that axe, and then you could say the
Ravager axe.
Ravager axe, yeah.
Don't refer to it as that axe. It's precious.
Sorry.
It's precious. Yeah, no victory rush, running out of food, not being able to afford your spells. I mean, people are going to encounter that very quickly. They're going to be like, I literally can't afford spells. What is this game? That's what people are going to expect. And I'm running out of money. So we'll see.
I wonder how much it's going to change, because we have now people that are familiar with the game more.
Yeah,
so
we talked about this.
The
mentality is going to be very different.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's actually going to... Sorry? No,
sorry, Nobbel, go on. I was just saying, like, in vanilla, people never wanted to be a prot warrior. It was too expensive to respec, and you didn't need to do it. But the mentality now is, if you're going to tank, people expect to be a protection warrior, right? I mean, of course I would be protection, I'm the tank. So just a general overall player mentality is very different now going into the game.
But that's the thing, too, is prot warriors didn't actually tank in vanilla. They were a mortal strike, but with a sword and a board.
I only ever played with 2 prot warriors. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, people didn't need it. Like, well, you didn't need mortal strike, but I mean, there's a lot of fury tanks as well. But it was just the fact that you kind of wanted shield slam, but it wasn't even that good, and you had to pick up like 20 useless talents to get it. So like, none of us. I mean, I only ever played with 2 prot warriors, and it never made a difference to my gameplay ever. It didn't seem to help them whatsoever. And certainly in terms of me healing them, it was like, oh god, this guy's a prot warrior. It was exactly the same. But I just think general mentality is very different now to then.
Yeah, I also going off from a comment from somebody, like, when I think back to Classic, I draw from my own memories 12 years ago now, where everybody was still fresh and new. But now people experience it on a private realm where people actually know what they're doing. And I wonder how much that's actually going to influence and change how we remember it, whereas how they're standing into it. Does that make sense?
In what way? Can you give me an example?
In a way of, they know how the bosses work, they'll clear multicore a lot faster, they'll be a lot easier with getting materials and getting gold into the economy, whereas when we did it, it wasn't really that much of a thing yet.
I'm not sure about that. Like, I don't know how you played, and that was the thing. We didn't have contact with each other. Yeah. You were in a very close knit.
You would make so much fun of me. Like, I was a hunter.
Maybe. I mean, I was a noob then. I've showed those videos. I was a clicker and stuff in vanilla. I didn't fix my gameplay properly till TBC.
I never fixed my gameplay.
But there's just not enough gold to get into the economy back then. Farming Tier's Hand and stuff like that, which only raiders could do for a lot. I mean, people are going to say I did it, but it was elites, and elites mean something in vanilla. They mean a great deal, and yeah, I think that side of the economic side isn't going to change too much. I mean, it's going to be really nice to have trusted server enchanters and profession people. I loved that about vanilla, is that there was like cabals of people who you could trust with because you had to trade your enchanting mats away and trust that the guy would actually do your enchant, right? You know, that's where you had these groups of people, which I hope communities bring back actually in game now. But in terms of the content, it'll be devoured without question. It'll be absolutely devoured by the players when it goes live, which is why they might gate it off like Bay said, which is, you know, we'll give you certain content at certain times. Because if they gave the next patch straight away, I don't see it lasting more than a month and a half, if I'm being honest. I really don't.
It's funny how I ask you one simple question and all of this keeps happening. This is what they're doing internally right now and have been.
Yeah, this is the problem. And because we said yesterday, there is guaranteed to be some of the devs who were dead against this. Like, there's no benefit to us doing this. And there are legitimate arguments to that. As much as I'm happy it's coming, and I'm really happy with the guys who fought for it, there's definitely objections which are legitimate as to why they should do it. And it's happening now. That doesn't matter. That entire discussion could be thrown in the bin. But now we have to face the reality of what are we getting and how they're going to approach it. And like Babe brought up, there's a chance it's not going to be classic. You know, there's a chance it's not going to be that. I hope it is, and then they could change it in the future. But there's a chance it's not going to be that at all.
So let me get something ridiculously off from this subject over to Nobbel to give a little bit of a banter about here. It's like a double question. I wrote these both down separately, but I kind of feel like they're the same. So what major story developments or character developments are you hoping for in Battle for Azeroth? I put like Jaina, Sylvanas, Anduin, and then Thrall in italices because, like, what the heck? Thrall all of a sudden? So what are you hoping for in your little lore nerd boner? What's it hoping for?
All of it, to be honest. There are a lot of interesting storylines they got working with. Like, Thrall is a very good example. And somebody actually on my Discord channel asked me today as well, like, what are they going to do with Thrall? And when you think of Thrall, there are like a couple of different directions they can take. We have Thrall that got so upset that he had to kill Garrosh that he lost his connection to the elements. And now potentially he's seeing another war chief like Garrosh rise up. Is he going to make changes in his story arc? Is he going to actually take action? Or is he going to follow the same route and do nothing and just let it happen? Then there's the story arc with Thrall being the world shaman and the world of Azeroth being in pain. Will he be joining up with Magni Bronzebeard, the speaker, and is he going to be playing a part in the Azeroth story arc? Or is he going to join us into Zandalar and taking Vol'jin's ashes with him and be like, hey, Bonsamdi, bring Vol'jin back? And Bonsamdi is like, yeah, sure, why not? And is he going to play a role in that?
Wait, can we get that?
Difference in accents.
Yeah, can we get that Bonsamdi shout out real quick again, one more time?
Yeah, sure, whatever, dude. I mean, that's the best way to finish up.
Yeah,
right. We know we're gonna get a story arc with Vol'jin. But what am I most excited for? What my hope is another purge of Dalaran. Which I mean by that is we have been discussing what happened in Mr. Pandaria with Dalaran for several years now, with a lot of people taking different stances, and this is what happened, that is what happened. And to this day, people are still debating like who was right and who was wrong. That is because it's multi-layered. There are different motivations. There are different point of views that are being shown. And I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen with Teldrassil. Not just a bombing of Fedamore and be like, oh yeah, Garrosh wanted more land, therefore he dropped the bomb on Fedamore. But have it more complicated, have it more gray than black or white, and have people debate like who's right and who's wrong. That is my major hope when it comes to the kicking off of the faction war. And then you can flow into speculation of Vol'jin being manipulated, and that it wasn't actually the Loa who told him to make Sylvanas the war chief, but the old gods, and Sylvanas and her Valkyr being manipulated into a faction war they never want to be in. But yeah, a more black and white, or more gray area with intrigue and debates and who's right, who's wrong. I would love to see more of that. Nobbel sure is fuzzy about his genocide. He has not genocide though. Like, I know the guy who asked the question during BlizzCon during the Q&A. Like, what about Jaina? Is she evil with the genocide of Dalaran? It wasn't genocide. Get the frick out.
Wow,
it wasn't
strong words.
Yeah, I wanted to say some words that YouTube would like demonetize, but you're going to be demonetized anyways, right?
Ha! Take that.
And Fedamore was a military target. Nothing wrong with bombing it. I'm not going to go into the bombing of Fedamore discussion because we'll be here all night. But I agree. Fedamore was a very good target to bomb. I'm way behind Garrus on that. Just the method that he used, that is where I draw questions. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a follow-up to that. We sort of got the inkling that Manduin's going to be around for a while because of the whole Velen prophecy thing and whatever. If, like, you know, book outside lore always becomes canon inside the main game, which always isn't a thing. It's just kind of some, you know, wishy-washy there. But do you think any of the major lore characters are gonna bite the dust like they did in Legion? Like, who's dying? Nobbel, who's dying in Battle for Azeroth? Who's dead?
Well, we know that Malfurion isn't accounted for, so I'm kind of crossing my fingers that he dies in a fire.
Oh, wow!
Crossing your fingers.
Wow. Okay.
You've heard the conversation with Illidan, right?
I'm not gonna. Maybe.
Maybe. Well, just because of that, I'm like, oh, just let Malfurion go. You know, Tyrande, my love, where are you?
Tyrande!
He wasn't his scars. He had no chance.
Don't make fun of the voice acting in that scene to placate Malfurion's awesome character for all this time. Okay, he had a one. His legions.
I mean, it was like an image. It wasn't the actual Malfurion, but just the whole storyline with Tyrande and Malfurion. Like Tyrande worse. I would rather have Tyrande go off, but apparently that's not a thing yet.
Sure.
So Malfurion and maybe Verisa, like the elf that we see next to Sylvanas on the fan art.
Yeah.
Could be Verisa. I think that would offer the most interesting storyline. Like you could also say
well, it's not. This isn't fan art. This is the actual key art they showed us. It's this elf right here next to Sylvanas. Who's this? Yeah, this elf you mean?
With the arrows in her back and looking at the fire. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, this one.
And if you zoom in, you can actually see that it's like blue armor, which could be Verisa. Some also suggest Chandris, perhaps, which could tie in nicely with the whole Tyrande story arc. But if I would have to say for most interesting storyline, I would say Verisa. Yeah.
Okay.
And the novel of Christy Golden is dropping in May, by the way. That's the current release date.
I wonder. Yeah, I hope they don't do anything too major, like lore character-wise, in the book, and then like they don't translate that to the game, because we have that problem and why I want to make war crimes a thing, because so much happens in war crimes that all impacts so much of the lore, and it's nowhere unless it's in the book. So if they what?
Sorry, it's June 12th now, apparently. All right. Yeah, sorry, go on.
June 12th now. Was it pushed back? Oh. No, I was just saying, like, they make these books, the newer books, the ones that are, like, directly tied into the story, like the piece tailor things, and so much happens in them that if you never read them, or no one ever makes a lore video about them, like, rips the whole book, like, maybe you have to do that, right? Or no one goes way beyond and tries to make it a machinima series and then doesn't have the funding for it, then no one knows, because it's not in the game.
Are you allowed to do that, Nobbel? Do they get funny about you translating the full story into?
Well,
it's posting a movie spoiler, right?
Yeah, well, it's kind of different. Like there are a couple of channels that straight up read it like an audiobook, and that's where you end up with problems in it. But making a summary of it, like I've had Christy Golden herself be like, "Oh my god, your War Crimes video is awesome," which warms my heart. Christy Golden is insane.
Name drop.
Absolutely insane.
Wow.
Well, Celestalon tweeted me.
Ooh.
Don't talk to Chad.
I hugged Celestalon. Get on my level.
He's blown my bald spot. Get on my
level.
But I agree with Bay. Like the prelude to the Cataclysm, for example, is you end up with a situation where people like Preacher are like, "Why is Magni a crystal again?" Because that's purely in the book, and a lot of things happen.
I didn't care.
Oh right.
I know, but Andy did find out, and he was really chuffed.
And I think no matter how much we don't want it in the book, it's going to happen in the book. I just hope that they're actually going to explain it proper in the game as well.
Right. Which, again, the story that they've weaved through Legion has been really well done. Obviously, the whole Suramar campaign was like the best storytelling they've ever done in the game, period. So hopefully they keep up with that. Obviously, all the talking heads, all the dialogue they've recorded. What's the stat on Legion? Like, World of Warcraft Legion has more spoken dialogue than, or just like that patch had more spoken dialogue than all of like Mass Effect 2 or something ridiculous. So
it has a lot, yeah.
A lot. But
I really like the Argus story, but it was better when it wasn't broken up. Like playing it straight through on the PTR, I really enjoyed it.
It depends. I think Nighthold
not, trying to link it to other things.
Oh, okay. Now, I think Nighthold Suramar did it proper with breaking it up with actual reason, as in we're waiting to knock down these doors and all that.
Okay.
But the Broken Shore and Argus itself, you can feel it was supposed to be one connected story, and it's been broken up purely to break it up.
Yeah, I mean, I assume you did the same as me. We played through it in one, and that was great. And then when it came to the live version, I was like, come on.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
And people are tweeting me.
But Suramar was fantastic.
Oh gosh. People are tweeting me I got tweeted the Who burned down Teldrassil, and it's the Nami in the foreground.
Nomi, yeah.
Ah, right, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Nomi did it.
So I guess the last question, I'll put this over at Preach first. Prediction then for what tier 3 or the end goal of Battle for Azeroth would be. What's your final boss prediction?
Ooh, I mean, for me, we're going to go through the expansion like this: is Red versus Blue to start. We're going to do the first raid, which is going to show the Old God influence. I think they might go with the Old God influencing the leaders of the great houses, because we've got, the houses are coming out. And that is going to lead to some devastating effect to Azeroth. I'm still on board with that. I think that's the way it's going to go. And leading into the end of the expansion will be us defeating something that's near the core of Azeroth. I think we're going to go down into it and then heal it with our medallion things, giving all our Azerite that we've collected over the course of the expansion back to it and healing it up. That's what I'm thinking. And there's somewhere in there, there's some water woman who's apparently angry.
Some water woman? Okay.
Some mermaid who's angry about it.
Wow. Nobbel, what do you think?
I'm not sure how she comes in, and that's not, but she's there.
She is.
What do I think? It's difficult to predict. Like from my speculation video, I was all ready for the Old Gods and all that. The way that it seems to be going down right now is indeed the faction war, right? Alliance versus Hordes. We're going to see a little bit of Old God influence on the Troll Islands. Azora is going to be poking at Kaltras. We are going to be dealing with Azora, which potentially flows into N'Zoth. And then it's interesting. Like, I want to say we're going to go to Nyalova. We're going to go to the realm of the Void Lords, where like the Old Gods come from and all that, if that even is what Nyalova is. Mm-hmm. But I also really like the idea of going deeper into Azeroth and imagine a raid where you deal with different sections of the Titan spirit, like her mind, where you see like visions and the body, and you battle for Azeroth. You battle for the sake of the Titan Azeroth to try and keep her uncorrupted, to try and save her, because, the Old Gods got the tendrils in her. And then, like the Azerite giving that up to heal her, I think that's a very cool idea. And then maybe potentially fight off like an Azeroth Titan, half beautiful and glorious and half corrupted. I think that would be very cool. But time will tell.
I can just picture such an awesome cutscene of, like, when the boss dies. Very similar to the Sunwell, actually. When we defeated Kill Jaden.
Yeah.
And we had that kind of epic moment. And I kind of think they would do something where we all take off our axes and we kind of throw it into something. I think that would be a very, very cool way to finish out the expansion. It'd be a very epic moment if they could pull it off properly. And I'm sticking with it.
It's a cool idea, definitely.
We'll have to wait and see.
What do you think, babe, by the way? Well,
yeah,
how do you see it go down?
Sure.
I brought up mine. I already brought up mine. Mine's in the notes. I wrote down Red versus Blue. Next is Old Gods, Queen Azara. Next is Void Lords. That's my tier progression. So, like, I love the story, and I'm all connected to it. I know a lot about it. Obviously, not as much as Nobbel does, and way more than Mike does, obviously. But I care more about the systems in the game, and we talked about that quite a bit, about the new, like, island plundering explorations being a thing, Warfronts being a thing, what's Mythic Plus 2.0 going to be, how is gearing going to be changing. Like, I care more about that sort of stuff, like the actual nitty-gritty of the systems of the game, because I don't care what we're doing, who we're killing, who we're smacking. I'm going to storm strike something regardless, So
I wonder.
let's not talk about that right now.
Oh, quick.
Well, we're gonna have to. No, you could listen to my interview and how I pose the whole defensive nonsense to Ian, like, straight up, and they confirmed that they are probably going to be removing utility and defenses from people rather than adding more. So as long as they take rogues down from 5 to like 2 or 3, it'll be a lot better. Because what the shit. Anyway,
the tank changes definitely point to that happening. Though.
Oh, all the CCs are being changed and lowered, and all the slows are being cut down and stuff.
Magic's going to be super dangerous next expansion. Magic, you're going to be afraid of Magic big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, AMS is what, like 8% now from 25. Ooh.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, because they're toning down a lot. I mean, obviously the item squish and the game squish is really appealing to me too, because then
they didn't even bring it up. I mean, they showed it in a screenshot and they're like, yeah.
It's
like
there.
So casual. That's what I mean. They were so like vague on a lot of things that you think they would be a big deal of, but they were like, "No, we're doing it." I mean, that's to be expected, right? At this point.
Yep. And they dogged. Ian directly called out Rocket Jump on Goblins, and Arcane Torrent on Blood Elves. Sorry, Arcane Torrent, if I got it nerfed, you deserved it. It's been like 8 years.
I'm surprised it's lasted this long, especially with Mythicals being the way it is. That's it's incredible to me that it's still in the game.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
It's so stupidly powerful.
Yep. So I guess the closing bit here, do you have any shout outs or anything you'd want to end with? And also, as your opening question, Nobbel, do you have anything you wanted to announce, or when we're going to see you next, or what kind of videos you got on the horizon? What's your little end soapbox here, sir?
Well, 15 minutes ago, I released the story of the Amani trolls, trolls in general. And next week, we're going to be doing the story of Zul'jin. That was actually planned in, like, he's being hero of Heroes of the Storm. But now that we also have him upcoming in the next expansion with the whole Zandalar troll bit, it is very, very relevant. On the horizon, I also have the idea of doing the story of Greymane. I think that's a great one for December. I want to do a very quick recap on what happened in Legion, because a lot of people were like, hey, Nobbel, I didn't play Legion. What happened?
Okay.
So I think quick recap would definitely work out. And maybe dive a little bit into speculation expectations for the next expansion. But that's still up in the air. And that's what that's what's going to happen on the channel. Yeah. And when will we see each other again? I have no idea, but each other again.
You better come in
Idaho?
28. Oh, what? 2018 BlizzCon. Come on, let's do it, because Bella's going to be there next year. And then you two have to be there.
2018 PreachCon, though.
Yeah, also true. That was in the summer, though.
Not yet confirmed.
Not yet
It is in
confirmed.
the summer, yeah.
Not yet
Maybe.
confirmed. And then
Maybe in the summer.
any shout outs or thanks or anything you want to leave your adoring fans? The 7 of them. No, Nobbel
sorry.
still.
Me
Nobbel
or
still.
Nobbel? Oh,
Nobbel,
sorry.
me.
Yeah,
All right.
Nobbel, yeah.
I love you, everybody. Thank you so much. And I'll hand it over to Preach now, who apparently doesn't love you at all.
No.
He told me before the show.
Thanks, man. Your tender hands just always carry me, you know. You always carry me. No, we do have a lot of things. We've got a lot of stuff coming in the next sort of 5 days, but I can't announce it yet because that would be silly. So generally speaking, we stream every day, and we should have a WoW video every single going forward, which is what people have been asking for the last while. So big things I can't say because I always get in trouble when I announce stuff early and it's not quite finished. So pay attention to that if you're fans of our stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to say.
I'll close out with saying, granted, the way that YouTube works right now is an awkward, unfortunate thing. So make sure you're just sub to both of their YouTube channels. There's Nobbel's, there's Preach. Make sure you're sub to them. Check your sub boxes. Make sure you're still sub to them because of the YouTube shenanigans. And check just your subscription feed to see if you're seeing their videos. If not, you can go to any of their videos. Like I'm going to go to Nobbel's recent video right now he made just today. You can, where's this? Click this stupid bell icon. I'm going to plug them and make sure you guys do this for them.
Yeah, the bull icon's garbage.
I'm just saying, try to lock this in because the stats on YouTube are really frustrating just because of the fact that if Zul'jin did nothing wrong, yeah, the top comment, yeah, exactly. But I'm going to hit this button over here that plays music right there. So thank you very much for tuning in to episode number 155 of Final Boss TV. As again, we have other community shows on the horizon. We have like a wrap-up show that I'm working towards for the end of this year special. But this has been the 2017 post-BlizzCon, the third one of its kind. You can go back and watch the last two. They were both with Nobbel and Preach as well. They're on the YouTube channel. You can, of course, check out all the past shows on YouTube, link down below. Or if you want the audio-only versions, you can go to iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play Music and listen to those in your head pieces, in your ear holes, because they're all audio only there, or of course the YouTube version. But again, there's Preacher, there's Mike. You can go, his YouTube is Mike Preach WoW, or his Twitter is Preach Gaming. There's you beautiful man.
I'm doing it right, boys. I'm doing it right. Everything's got a different name.
Everything's got a different name. You dork.
It's the best idea in marketing. Listen to us.
You're so pixelated. I'm sorry for tuning in at the end of the show. It's just Discord bandwidth on the video stuff, but the audio sounds super crisp, and that's what matters more. But Mike, thank you for your time again, sir. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Always.
And there's this guy, this little Dutch boy. Hello, there's his YouTube, it's Nobbel87. There's his Twitter, it's also Nobbel87. He's just, that's him.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Wait,
Hello,
you gotta,
Lamau.
hold on. I gotta pause the music. Can you do your intro for everyone? They want it.
All the ballers and a blow fist to y'all.
You know what? I hate you so much, man.
That's
Do it.
This is why I'm wearing this shirt today. This is Taliesin and Evitel shirt. Go watch the pre-BlizzCon show. They're adorable. I did not. Okay, that was well done. That's a golf clap. Nobbel, well done. Well done. Well done. Thank you all for tuning in today. Again, if you appreciate the show, you can check out the Patreon page to make sure I keep going. There's the BTS show, which is another hour of these knuckleheads. And then, of course, you can subscribe to our Twitch channels. Mine, Nobbel's Preach. Keep us all doing what we're doing, sitting on our butts, talking to you while you're sitting on yours or whatever you're doing. Thank you all for the continued support. I'll do shout-outs and stuff after we're done here. But that's it. Trust in your Seal of Artifact power and get to 75 traits before the 28th, because if not, you're a scrub.
Confirmed.
But thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Bye. Wave bye. Wave. Wave bye. There you go. Yeah.